Welcome back to Kind of Funny Star Wars in Review. That's right, we are ranking and reviewing every movie in the Star Wars franchise. If I had just a little more time this morning, I would have edited that intro clip to be the new music from the Episode 9 trailer at the end. Oh. That shit is fucking tight, baby.
Don't spoil it for me. I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't seen the
No,
trailer?
I haven't watched it either.
Yeah, I know. I saw everyone freaking out about it, and I was like, my plan was to come in this morning and just watch it while everything was quiet, and I totally forgot.
Dude,
we had to prepare
What you
a bunch
got
of
to
stuff.
do? No, I mean, next time we edit this,
Should we stop the show right now and just watch it?
It's got to be the celebratory music from the Gungans.
Oh, yeah. I actually love that shit, dude. I would argue one of the stronger transitions musically at the end of one of the Star Wars movies, where it builds and so fucking
There's
cool.
a lot of good music in this one. I'm
There
just
is.
saying. This is the movie with the best music. Putting it right there, number one in my book.
There's an argument to be made, 1,000% for that. What's your argument?
What's
Nick?
your Duel of the Fates is great. Everything else is not great.
Not true at all. So many amazing themes.
What are the other themes?
Just all of it. Like all of the different like.
Like the intro sort of dark theme.
So recognizable, the one you just did.
Dude, all the
great.
Naboo troop music and stuff, like when they're in the palace and all that, it's some of the most iconic dogfighting music that they use that they go on to use in all the rest of the movies. So fucking great.
It's rad.
But here's the thing. We need to watch this trailer. We're going to watch it right now.
Yeah.
We're just going to do it.
All right.
Bring it up, man.
Give me a minute.
This is doubling as Nick and Andy's, or no, Nick and Kevin's live reactions. Here's the thing. I've seen it 3 times.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
I cried 3 times. God. The Last Jedi trailers didn't get me. I was
Now, this is what scares me, because I'm like, this is how fucked up and how like post-traumatic stress I have with this goddamn series. Because I'm like, Tim cried. Does that mean there's pod racing in this?
No, dude.
Does that mean that there's pod racing in this fucking trailer?
There's one moment
if
where
I see pod
everything
racing, I'm going to
changes,
drown
man.
myself on my
You got the
20.
controller? Just
Yeah.
Bear, crank that up to 100%.
After watching this was an 88 out of 100 on the hard nipple
Are we going to
scale.
get super claim for this?
We might. We'll clip it out.
We should probably not.
No. We'll clip it out. Like take the time.
Yeah, I can
take
put
the
a time code
and
right
it'll
now.
be easy to
Yeah,
clip
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
All right,
It's going to be worth
give
it.
me a second.
And we can even export a clipped out version like now.
Live reactions.
Just have it ready to upload.
All right, give me a second.
Here's what we're going to do. Don't show it.
Don't show it?
Don't show it.
I feel like we...
Throw it, don't
And
show
we'll
it.
like we can see it. Don't show it to them. If you guys want to, you'll hear when it'll be 3,
We'll
2,
count
1.
down, yeah.
We'll start playing. You'll see our reactions. Okay, that'll be the best for claiming.
All right. So 3,
Can they hear it? Wait, are they gonna be able to hear it?
I'll hear it enough.
3, 2, 1.
No, 50's fine.
I need it to be 100.
It's an instinct. Feeling. First brought together. We're not alone. Good people will fight if we lead them. People keep telling me they know me. No one does.
That's awesome.
Long have I waited. And now
What?
That's a lot of ships.
what are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir. At my friends.
All right, you know.
The ultimate fear is the destiny of a Jedi. Your destiny.
It's perfect.
The Force be with you.
Always.
Nipples are hard. Tears
Jesus
are flowing
Christ.
down my face right
Jesus
now.
Christ, man.
Man, we should probably get tickets for that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
We got some tickets.
Wow.
That's amazing. That theme in the end is
It's
awesome.
gonna be.
Oh,
I'll
that's
put.
really
I'll
well
say
done.
this right now. Again, Phantom Menace has the best music ever. This one, second best music ever. but also, prettiest movie you'll ever see. Like I think this will be the Last Jedi was gorgeous to look at. This will be equally, if not better. Like just visually, holy shit,
The
this is eye
shot
candy.
of the TIE fighters going to whatever that iceberg was, like that
damn,
shot
that's
was
gorgeous.
fucking beautiful.
Was that, was that the
love-
Super Star Destroyer coming out of the water?
It was an original Star Destroyer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like the OG original trilogy ones.
Like
which
the
is,
Emperor Star
And
Destroyer?
there's so many shots of like
Well, he had
hundreds
that
of Star
super
Destroyers.
giant one.
And
That's right.
the shot of the Falcon coming in with all the ships around it.
One of the
including
ships in the
Ghost
background.
from Rebels. And
Yeah.
like,
Oh my god,
there's a ton.
dude.
There's it looks like the ship from Battlefront 2. Like there's just a ton of ships. I'm like,
I want to rewatch
this
it
is
in
like
slow
Return of the
motion.
Jedi on crack.
Yeah,
it
this
seems
is
like. Let's fucking go. Anyways, we're not talking about that one.
Let's talk about
Quite yet.
Phantom Menace, baby.
What a transition. Oh, man, I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That's Kevin Coelho. We got Nick Scarpino. This is Kind of Funny in review every Tuesday, twitch.tv/Kind of Funny Games. You can watch live or you can watch later, youtube.com/Kind of Funny, roosterteeth.com. You can listen to this as a podcast on podcast services around the globe. Just search for Kind of Funny Reviews. We are also doing Terminator in review right now. Terminator 1 went up last week, Terminator 2 this week. Dark Fate will be next week, in addition to Attack of the Clones. Very fun stuff for everybody. You can get the show ad-free by going to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like our Patreon producers did. Al Tribesman
The Predator.
and David Mintel.
The Mind Freak.
Thank you guys very much for everything. Today we're talking about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, released May 19th, 1999, directed by George Lucas. The film was Lucas's first directorial effort after a 22-year hiatus following Star Wars in 1977. In November 2015, Ron Howard confirmed that he, Robert Zemeckis, and Steven Spielberg were approached by Lucas to direct The Phantom Menace. All three approached directors told Lucas that he should direct the film, as they each found the project too daunting. A budget of $115 million, box office of $1.027 billion. It grossed more than $924 million worldwide during its initial theatrical run, becoming the highest grossing film of 1999, the second highest grossing film worldwide and in North America behind Titanic, and the highest grossing Star Wars film at the time. A 3D reissue, which earned an additional $102.7 million at the box office, pushed it over the billion mark in February 2012. A runtime of 2 hours and 13 minutes. That aren't boring at all.
And you fucking feel that.
Before we get into the plot and all that stuff,
Can you imagine if Robert Zemeckis had directed
that would have been fucking
the
crazy.
prequels? That
man.
would have been unbelievable.
They
That
were
would have been
scared.
so cool.
It would have been cool.
Why are they
And
scared? Like,
Well, because I
This
told
was the
Joe,
first
trust
one-
me, they were smart. They get it. They were like, if we fuck this up, we are going to be. Whenever Twitter happens, people are going to tear us apart on Twitter.
But I mean, it's not even if they fuck it up. If it's like if the story isn't there, people are immediately blame the directors.
Do you
I mean,
think
look
that?
how quick we turned on Lucas. You know what I mean?
Well, do you think that? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think that Robert Zemeckis was watching like the reaction to this, and he's like, "Damn it."
Dodge that bullet.
I would have been like, "Fuck, dude, nothing." I mean, like, I should have done it because this is the worst it could have
Yeah,
possibly gotten. Like, he fucked this up so bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it really is sad too that people after seeing this, Lucas didn't pivot and be like, "Let's bring in a different team for Attack of the Clones." He just was like, "Fuck it,
down.
let's just do it again,"
Yeah.
and then let's just do it again. And people were like, "Stop it!" And he's like, "No."
please, Lucas, please.
It's like when your older brother used to just like punch you, like hold you down and punch you in the face, and you're just like, "I can't do anything to
That's
this. I
never-
don't like it."
The
But you guys
punch
don't
is-
have older
well,
brothers.
yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I
Older
just
sister did
remember
something
being
similar.
a little 10-year-old kid and old Daddy Cortez pulling me out of college. I was in college. Pulling me out of elementary
That was
school.
Doogie Howser,
I was
MD.
I was at Palmer Elementary, and he took me out of class, and we went to go see it like that the morning
yeah.
of, and it was just. As a kid, I watched. This is probably the Star Wars movie I watched the most, honestly. Because it was just like, as a kid, it was on VHS, and I fucking had it finally on VHS, and it was the pod racing scene, the Darth Maul scene on loop with my dad's like awesome home speaker system. It was so badass.
This is undeniably the Star Wars movie I've seen the most.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that's just because of our age group. And in addition to that, it's the movie I experienced the most. Like not just watching it, but playing the video games. Jedi Power Battles, Star Wars Episode 1.
Rogue Squadron.
On PlayStation. It's like
Pod
so
Racer,
many
yeah.
different... Episode 1 Racer. It's like Episode 1 permeated my life in every single way, which is really crazy.
It's
because it's hard
interesting-
to think of the point when it turned. Like it's hard for me to pinpoint when exactly I was like, oh, this isn't as good as the other ones. Like I feel like when you're a little kid, you're just not critical of things.
But see, I feel, and that's the travesty of everything is that Lucas didn't make these for 40-year-old adults. He made these because he wanted kids to enjoy them, and it worked. You guys enjoyed them, and that's cool. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying like it sucks that we give Lucas so much shit for these because we want them to be more serious, adult-oriented movies that have like. You slightly more, like more intensity, like the original
He
trilogy.
made them for kids with a lot of like political.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
gonna say.
can't
Like,
agree with that because it's
Yeah.
like
No,
the story is
but
so
But like,
diluted.
he wanted to put, to his credit, he wanted to infuse more stuff in there that was a little bit more cartoony and more fun for kids to watch. Like, you go back and watch the pod racing scene, and I've been super critical of these movies as well. But going back and watching it again, I haven't seen this movie in probably 10 years. I'm like, oh, I get it. If I were a fucking 10-year-old kid, I would think the announcers were hilarious. I would think Jabba spitting the thing out was great. I would probably have so much fun watching the scene and want a pod racer.
incredible.
Just like when I was a kid, I wanted one of the speeder bikes from Indoor. So I totally get it, and I totally I understand why he made the choices he did. Those aren't necessarily the things that I think are the most egregious. I think a lot of
Pod racing's dope. Straight up, it's dope. I stand by it.
it's a lot of the casting. It is the over convoluted plot that even after this, now I went through again and I'm like, I got to go back and read a wiki on this because going through and trying to, as they're saying it, decipher what the fuck they're talking about. I'm like, what is happening?
It's like trying to
with
learn
this
about
plot?
Brexit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing that's craziest is in addition to me watching and living episode 1 the most, I feel like the prequels are also the thing that I've taken in the most kind of like video essays and like thought about of people like trying to point out what's wrong or like what are the themes? What are they actually trying to say? Like what is going on? And it's so crazy how when you look at the prequels, they are the story of Palpatine rising. But when you look at this, even that's convoluted in this one. Like you see his rise, you see some things happening, but it's like you get introduced to so many concepts and planets and systems and okay, well he's a senator, but then there's the Supreme Counselor, and then there's this and this, and it's just like
and also
what the
thing
fuck
that
is
broke
happening?
my mind where she was like, I'm Queen Amidala, the duly elected leader of Naboo, and I'm like, I don't think queens get elected.
I guess
and then
they do
also,
in this
was
world.
Palpatine a senator of Naboo?
Yeah.
I never knew that until the very end of this movie where he was like, you've done great for our people. I was like, did he say our people? Is he from Naboo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that because of the games and shit. Like they double down on that a little
But
bit.
that,
more.
like, I'm sure there's one line, the throwaway line that I've missed all these years, which is like, Senator Palpatine, we must need you because you're a senator from Naboo. But I never got that.
Well, no, but I mean, and that's what I'm saying is like, there is a narrative that goes across the prequels of him rising, and it's pretty cool. It's just buried in so much shit.
Yeah.
But like in this, he has the talk with her where he's just like, hey, the Supreme Counselor, we got to do some shady shit.
Yeah, the
to,
whole
like-
point of this movie is for him to become Supreme Chancellor. That's it.
Yeah.
It's him playing chess.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the way he plays chess is the way like people used to play chess against me, where they understood the game and I had no fucking idea what was happening the entire time. He's like, we're going to do this, vote of no confidence, you're going to do this. Why are they attacking Naboo? I'm not quite sure. What is the trade dispute that's happening? I don't really know.
The Trade Federation, is that a separate group from the Republic?
I
No,
don't think so because
to
they're
me,
under
it
the
sounded like a
legal.
company or something.
What?
It sounded like a company or like a thing
It's like a
that like
union.
regulated
that's
trades.
But
always
they
been
follow
clear.
the rules of the Senate because they're
Yeah.
like this. They're like, this is super illegal.
But
What we're doing,
also,
we're gonna get in trouble.
The
and they
rules
never
are
get in trouble.
ridiculous, like where it's like, well, we don't have any proof that like this is happening. It's like the Queen just came from there.
Yeah, we
like
can't have
isn't
video.
but
she a
video.
that's some
delegate? that-
China shit. That's some like silence. I'm like, we don't have proof. It's like, yeah, you do. It's like, no, we don't.
Well, they tried to set it to the point where because he was like, and this is my biggest problem with this whole movie is that a lot of the things that are super important are just told to you by the Emperor. Like the Emperor really just kind of narrates this whole thing, and then we get some cool action sequences. That's pretty much it, which is like bonkersly opposite from the original trilogy, where the characters are actually doing stuff to push the narrative forward. Anyway. There was that one line where he's like, "See, and this is where his power ends because he's a shill for all these other people." But we don't know who those people are, and we're just told that the Supreme Chancellor, who's played by Terrence Stamp, who was awesome as Zod and Superman 2, is a bad guy. And then when they go, there's one line where he's like, "I don't have any confidence in the Chancellor. I call for a vote of no confidence," and he just sits down and goes, and then he's gone. He's gone forever. We never see him again.
Moments before that, we do see him kind of like he knows what's going on. He's talked to her. We've seen an interaction.
He says like, hey, we're going to launch an investigation. It's which sounds like bureaucratic bullshit. Like political
exactly
bullshit.
where it's like
Sure.
these people need it now.
But like, it's so unbelievably convoluted
Yeah.
and shouldn't be.
And me and Barry were talking about
Why
this
are
a little
trade
bit.
like the Trade Federation like blocking trades? Isn't that what they like? It was
But
just
also,
so weird.
why does you have a galaxy, which is you are a galactic trade federation? Why would one planet at all matter in anything that you're doing, especially a planet that's largely populated by things that live under a sea that probably don't trade with you ever?
I mean, I think it had to do with him being senator and the power that he has within the Senate.
No,
as a whole.
I know he orchestrated it so that Naboo was there, but I was never told, or rather maybe I was. I don't know.
Who the fuck
at a certain
knows?
point, I need to go back and like research what the hell's going on with this. But like, I don't know what the significance of Naboo is to the trade. Is it the center of the fucking galaxy for trade? Why would this one planet being blockaded matter at all?
Yeah, like,
to a
what was in
galactic
it
senate
for
that has
them?
literally thousands of
Well,
planets. That
Is
are
there
I
like
can see.
is there
But-
vibranium on there?
Yeah. But we're never told what that is.
I think that's kind of the point where it's like it doesn't, and that's why it went to investigation instead of them acting on it. You know
right,
what I
but
mean?
then, but if it doesn't matter that much, why would anyone agree to vote for? If I were the Supreme Chancellor, I'd be like, this doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter, why would any of the other senators go along with voting me out as Supreme Chancellor? Like the
Yeah.
stakes of this are zero as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And it's punctuated by the fact that whatever direction Natalie Portman got to be the queen, they were like this. Nat, have you ever done a Quaalude? Okay, here's 10. Go into a room right now, and then we're going to record your lines after you've done all of them. 'Cause
That's
she's like,
everybody in this movie, though.
I'm like, is she drooling again? Oh, get the drool. Get the drool.
So
get
a
the
weird
drool.
thing is, in addition to all of this, like why does this make any sense? Why does this matter? Why is Yoda and Mace Windu on Naboo at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
I have so
Like,
many-
why is the Jedi Council
for
there?
Qui-Gon Jinn's
Funeral?
funeral, I would imagine, right?
Okay.
which they should
Yeah,
have
that's
put
fair,
probably
yeah.
taken it back to Jedi
Yeah,
at that point or
maybe,
wherever the
maybe
hell.
like you know,
Jedi.
Isn't that what they
Jeddah?
called it? What's
Jeddah?
the name of the planet?
Jeddah?
Jeddah.
Jeddah? Is that what it was?
But like that's just where they get
But, like,
their kyber
like,
crystals.
Or
It's
wherever.
weird.
Or Coruscant.
Yeah.
weird thing of instead of moving a body somewhere else, they move the
So, like,
entire
that's what
Jedi
I'm finding
Council.
with
I think they were like celebrating and
Also,
like there
yeah.
was the coming together of the Naboo and the Gungans.
But
I'm
why
sure-
the fuck
I'm
did the
sure it
Jedi
was-
Council care about
It
that?
was a
Why
heavy
does, what
body.
does the Jedi Council do at all? Like
Well,
what?
And
They're
that's
the cops.
and that's another problem that it's a cool concept that's made in this that starts in this movie of like the Jedi Council are kind of idiots and they're kind of almost the bad guys and
Yeah.
That's the
what
point.
but
that's what they're building.
But the movies are so bad at doing
They're so
that.
bad at telling that. And that's so there's two problems I have with this movie as a whole that are bigger than anything. One of them is there are so many elements of this that are fucking rad and cool
Yeah.
story-wise. The idea of Naboo, the idea of there being two different types of people on this planet that don't necessarily get along but could get along. There's the Trade Federation, there's the Jedi Council. How does this all work together? It could all work together in a really cool way if Zemeckis directed this.
Oh god!
right?
Zemeckis sat down here like we're dishing half this shit.
There could be a very, very cool story involving those elements.
It was putting
There's not.
together a puzzle, but the puzzle pieces were from 3 different puzzle sets.
It's just fucking weird. And then the bigger problem I have, though, and me and Barry were talking about this a couple days ago, when it all comes down to it, no future spoilers, no getting into it. What happens in this movie that couldn't have just been in the scroll of the next
in the
movie?
scroll of
Yeah.
the next movie.
What?
Not only that, but like the biggest travesty of the entire trilogy is that we don't really get to see Sidious become Sidious until like the very end, right? Isn't he like the very end of like of?
Well, no, I mean, there's
it's
hints
through-
of it
yeah.
in the second
Through-
one.
Yeah, but it
It's
would have been
3.
so cool if like they had actually like. Well, I guess we have Dooku and Grievous, which are characters that probably should have been introduced in this one, but they weren't. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened. They were like, John Williams walked up to Lucas and was like, yeah, I got this song called Duel of the Fates. We need to put it somewhere. And they're like, all right, cool. Well, I got this guy with red paint, and
Yeah.
he's fucking
I got it.
rad.
It's
and
a
he's
great
really
arc,
cool.
dude.
So
have you seen
cool.
X-Men? It's not out yet. but
What
you're
kind of
gonna-
lightsaber does he have?
Oh, he's got a red one. Oh, cool. Just like the other ones? No. But there's
2.
both sides.
It is.
Yeah.
It is You can tell, like, literally, if you were to break this down by percentage of how much time Lucas spent on each of these scenes, you could tell he was like, "I'm really looking forward to this lightsaber battle at the
Yeah,
end."
but dude, so and I know this is a bit unconventional for how we do these, for how long we're going, but that
People
scene,
don't care; they want to listen.
how I get that, but that scene, Duel of the Fates, as fucking awesome as it is, why do we cut away from it 1,000 times
And that's a
to
big-
do the 3 plane of action thing? Because they're like, well, it worked in Jedi, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work when it cuts between Anakin in the sky. Why? Why did Anakin need to be up there? Because he's a good pilot. Why?
He
Every
saved
single fucking
everyone,
thing
right?
they do with Anakin, I ask why. Why does he need to be a good builder? Why did they have a line of saying, "Oh, I can build anything"? Oh,
'Cause
so
he
he could build
builds
C-3PO.
This is my favorite part of the Red
But
Letter
also-
media video about this, where they're going through and watching the end and like how they're cutting away and all this stuff, and they're telling Lucas of like, this is not a good idea because we're cutting through like 3 different types of emotions that you're supposed to be going through, and it feels staggering.
It gets to
and
4.
then, and yeah, it gets to 4, and then Lucas decided, nah, I'm just gonna keep it because it's inventive, and it's like, nah, it wasn't.
What my other big problem with this is that like, who is the main character of this movie, and what is their plot arc? That's a question I have. Is it Anakin? Because Anakin doesn't have a plot arc. He starts and he's really good at stuff, and then he ends and he literally, like, by happenstance, destroys an entire fuel generator ship that for some reason is tethered to all the droids down there, ending the war. He does not learn anything from start to finish. He is the exact same character at the beginning.
He gets a ponytail. It's
True.
a little,
How does he get the
it's a little
ponytail?
braid.
His
Because his hair wasn't that fucking long.
You have a lot
Do
of
they have a
midichlorians.
Jedi growth
You
form?
have enough. You have enough
Wingardium
midichlorians.
Leviosa- Oh my
Midichlorians will grow that shit, dude.
Qui-Gon, Master Qui-Gon, I heard you talk about midichlorians. I guess I was wondering, what's a midichlorian?
I wish
It's
they-
at the barrel of this gun. Check this out. Oh, my God.
I wish they had just
Are
removed
you
that
an
scene.
angel?
An angel.
Oh!
God damn.
But anyway, to bring it back to what Andy, what you two were saying of like, this is the movie you probably watched most as a kid, and it's interesting because I think Duel of the Fates and Pod Racing are definitely the 2 most watched scenes I had as a kid. But even like a 5-6-year-old, when I was watching this on VHS, I was the target audience, I feel like.
Sure.
And
You definitely were.
even as a child, I was like, no, I want to skip the 95% of this movie to watch these 2 scenes, and that's it.
Well, and one of the reasons...
Qui-Gon's so fucking cool.
No,
As
he's not. He's a
as a
shitty
kid, there's so
I
much
think
stuff.
Qui-Gon's really cool.
Not just
I
as a
love
kid. I'm
Qui-Gon.
saying like
Yeah.
even when I was a kid, I was entertained by enough. Of
Even
it.
now, like knowing that like he's probably meditating in case he dies, right? Like in that scene. And it's just like, that's so cool. Because
Yeah,
he's
no,
the
it's
one that
cool,
but
develops
he's
this, the
he's
ghost
kind of
thing.
the main character in this movie, and
Yeah.
he learns nothing. Like he does nothing. Like he doesn't grow
That-
at all.
yeah.
And that's a big problem with me. Is like there's no progression of real conflict in this that pushes the characters to be different than when they were at the very, very beginning. Obi-Wan's kind of like a scared, like we shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. He literally starts his first line as, I have a bad feeling about this. And at the end, he's like, I guess I'll take this kid on because
But even
my
that-
master wanted me to. I don't want to do this. I didn't learn anything or grow at all to be able to do this. I think this is a bad
I
idea.
wasn't convinced like to like this kid.
Yeah,
like
at all.
Suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
that's-
kid and Anakin should have been this like he should have been a kid who was doubting himself, and because of Qui-Gon's like a belief in him, stepped out of his comfort zone and then taken on this big journey. Like Luke was. Luke was like, remember that moment in A New Hope where he's like, he wants this adventure, but when he's faced with it, when he's given that choice, he goes, I can't do this. I have to go back. I'm just a moisture farmer. And then when he goes, he literally has no more home to go back to. We never got that moment here.
we get it.
This is not as good.
Shmee.
All right. Let me get some fun little. Wait, no.
Come on, baby, you want some facts?
May the facts be with you. May the facts be with you. During filming, Ewan McGregor made lightsaber noises as he dueled. It was noted and corrected during post-production.
Hilarious. I would like, I can't, guys. This is me. I've been doing this forever.
Fucking love him.
During the first week of the first trailer's release, many theaters reported up to 75% of their audiences paying full price for the movie and then walking out after the trailer was shown. What a different time.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I didn't know this. After the film's end credits finish rolling, the sound effect of Darth Vader's breathing can be heard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever made it. The second the credits roll on this bad boy, I'm turning it
Done.
off.
Yeah.
At the time of the film's release, the producers ran a disinformation campaign to suggest that Natalie Portman played both Padme and the Queen at all times. In fact, they are not always the same person. For many sections of the film, notably those where the Queen is wearing the black outfit with the huge feather headdress, she's actually a decoy played by Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
The real Queen, Portman, is actually disguised as a handmaiden. Various conflicting public statements make it extremely difficult to figure out who is who. Whole websites are devoted to figuring out which actress is
What?
playing which
They're
handmaiden.
not that hard to
It's not
like.
or
hard.
the Queen at any given point.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
it's
tell when
very
it's
easy.
Different
Keira Knightley.
voice.
It's a different person.
First
No,
off, I didn't
the
realize.
voice is
Oh, the voice is
ADR.
the same?
Yeah.
That's the
Oh.
thing.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that it is bad. But like even Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley were wrong about what they thought they were like in interviews
scenes they
about
were in?
scenes they were in.
Interesting.
What's so sad about this is that you cast Natalie Portman. Now I know she has better scenes later, like she gets to be the Queen and Padme later. But you cast Natalie Portman, who's a phenomenal actress, and you don't get to have any real character interactions with her until like midway through the film because she's not the queen. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a very weird thing. How much cooler would it have been if she was just the queen? What is the point of having there be that reveal at the end when no one's shocked by it except for like C-3PO? I was like, what? Or Jar Jar was like,
pretty
what?
shocking.
Yeah.
That comes out of
I
nowhere.
thought
Who saw this?
Go back and watch that scene again because everyone's like, oh.
Oh, you mean in world?
I mean, in the world, people are like, oh, cool. It wasn't like, holy shit, we're all going to die and the queen's about to die. And then Padme runs up and is like, no, I'm the queen. I'll sacrifice myself for this. She was just like, no, I got to talk to the Gungan guy now.
False
because,
ass, dude.
And everybody there's like, yeah, we know it was you.
Yeah,
like,
we fucking know it was
we've been
you.
playing along. It's embarrassing.
yeah, it's so dumb. It was just, oh, God. What a poor choice.
According to Star Wars canon, Obi-Wan's hanging braid is a Jedi tradition common to all Padawan learners. When his master feels that he has reached proper maturity, he cuts the braid with his lightsaber, signifying that the student is now a full
I'd be
Jedi
like,
Knight.
use scissors, please. Like, I know you're good with that thing.
They should have
but-
shown that if it's a thing.
They really should have shown that. It
Qui-Gon
would've
should
been
have fucking cut it off.
really cool right before the duel of fate. Hey, hold on.
Yeah.
All right, you're all good.
Get in there, bro.
Like,
It is-
for reals?
It is
Like-
really cool. I think there is an episode of the 2D Clone Wars show where you see Anakin do it for his braid, and it's like fucking rad.
Anakin does it for himself, or does Obi-Wan do it for Anakin?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember of like the hair coming down. You're like, oh shit, but I forget who exactly does it.
I'm just going to keep going with the facts because we got some bangers
for it.
here.
Hell yeah.
Tupac Shakur.
Hell yeah.
Star Wars fans since childhood expressed interest in reading for a role, even lobbying mutual friends of his and George Lucas's to get them in touch with each other to set up a meeting so he could read, but his tragic murder in September 1996 prevented any such meeting from taking place. It's been speculated that he was up for the part of Mace Windu, but the character's name was not publicly known before filming started. It was not specifically written for an African American until Samuel L. Jackson was cast. There's only one shot in the film where there are absolutely no visual effects added at all. The shot of the gas pouring out of the vent in the meeting room.
That's it?
Yeah. It's real gas.
It's really sad because going back and watching the original trilogy and seeing how much stuff they were forced to do practically because they just didn't have the time there, it allows the actors so much more freedom to be in the scene and act against each other, and you feel the energy of that. And it's really sad because a lot of the action sequences, especially in this beginning, like they don't know what they're looking at and they don't know where they're looking, and it forces the blocking to be so much more boring, especially when they're just walking around like they're not. It sucks.
I will say
it sucks because it kills all the energy out of most of the scenes.
it sucked a lot less for me because I watched it on a phone this time and
You
it was
did.
harder to notice.
Yeah. I
Because
didn't.
you put that shit on the big screen and it's like it's definitely it was noticeable, but it wasn't like offensive or anything like that.
Well, the other problem is that the technology back then just does not hold up, and like
Yeah.
the
It
just
droids look
doesn't.
cartoonish.
But also, let's not try to. I don't want to say that like everybody in the original trilogy were phenomenal actors. Like,
Oh, no.
I thought even though they didn't have CG, there was a lot of bad acting.
I
in
will
but I
say
feel
this
like-
though,
original trilogy.
you're wrong. Everyone in the original trilogy was with a couple, noted of a couple people, are phenomenal actors. Some of whom have been nominated for Academy Awards.
Yeah.
So like Natalie Portman. If you go watch The Professional, she was like 12 years old when she did that movie. It's a fucking great film. Liam
She's a
Neeson.
great fucking
Have you
actress,
seen
yeah.
Taken 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Samuel
And
L.
seven and
Jackson.
eight.
Samuel L. Jackson is phenomenal. Like,
And he can't
Ewan
even
McGregor,
emote in this fucking
go watch
movie.
Train Spotting. Like, he's fucking awesome. These are great actors that they got for this.
Yeah, no,
Terrence
the
Stamp.
The acting's
I'm not
bad.
acting.
Terrence Stamp is phenomenal.
I'm not saying the point I was trying to make is like I don't. It's not the environments that are making.
No, it's the
them
dialogue, the environments, the blocking,
but also
the production design.
a director who doesn't know how to direct
Exactly.
acting.
Yeah.
You know, like
Well,
this.
a director that has admitted that he doesn't like working with actors, which is the saddest part.
Yeah.
A director who literally all of these trilogies smack with, I got a new program that I don't know how to use, so I'm just gonna get my friends together and we're gonna shoot some stuff on green screen so I can practice getting the edge perfectly right on their head. Oh, and I'll put this other thing in there. Like, it's just a tech demo. It's
Yeah.
a 9-hour-long tech
Absolutely.
demo.
The script explains. The script has a lot of really interesting stuff. You should definitely like look into like things that Episode 1 script has that you missed because there's so much like subtext in there that like you just don't get because they didn't do a good job showing it. The script explains that the reason Watto is always flying is that he's crippled. If you look closely, you can see that one foot is longer than the other. He also talks out of the side of his mouth because the broken tusk slurs his words. And when you start looking at the design of him, you're like, okay, cool, that's interesting. According to the script, the chance cube that Watto rolled with Qui-Gon was fixed to land on red.
Yeah, of course.
That's why he was so mad that Qui-Gon tampered with it to land on blue. That doesn't come across at all.
I got for a second.
He does say you cheated.
Yeah,
or,
you
like,
cheated
when
because
he,
he knew that it was
but he
supposed to
comes
be the
off
other
as
way.
just he's just kind of like a bitch, not
Yeah.
like there's some shit going on. You
yeah,
know?
that's true.
And then the
He's
last,
more of a sore loser about it.
The last thing I got here is actually no, I got a couple. The Starship Enterprise from Star Trek: The Next Generation can be seen briefly amongst the traffic flying around Coruscant.
Shut the fuck up.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
cool.
Also, there's like ET creatures in the
in
Senate.
the Senate.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then Greg, how do you say this?
Proops?
Greg Proops and Scott Capurro recorded their pod racing commentary and prosthetics and makeup.
Why?
I don't know. And the very first scene of The Phantom Menace that was filmed featured Darth Sidious and Darth Maul on the balcony when they did that
I
little
love
chat.
that scene.
It's dope.
I love
Shout
that
out
scene
to
because
Ian McDermott.
that scene was in the trailer where he's like, "At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi."
Yeah.
That was
At last,
such
we'll
a
have
cool
our
trailer
revenge.
moment.
And what's cool about that is like,
One of his 3 lines.
God bless him. But what's cool about that is I didn't notice this time, but they were both in deep focus, which is really unsettling. So
Oh,
like,
wow.
yeah, if you look at normally, optically, you'd have whoever's in the foreground.
Yeah.
If this person's talking in the background, he would be in focus. He wouldn't be, but they comped him in or did something. I don't know because they were attack on crisp, and it's really unnerving to watch, but it works.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Is was that actually what's his face talking?
Ray Parks?
Was that actually Ray Parks? Because
I think
I never
so.
knew he was British. Or
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it could be a fake accent, but
He's British.
I just always assumed that he was cast because of his athleticism and because of his like stunt, flipping and
think he
cool
was, right?
like flips
Yeah,
and
he
shit.
was.
But I always assumed that the voice actor was just like a different voice actor comped in.
I think it was him
Okay.
because that sounds like his voice.
I hate that.
And
they
I'm
kill
pretty
him
sure
off
he's
in this
British,
one.
but I could be
It
wrong.
would be so cool to get
They
more.
don't.
But also,
Future
yeah, I mean they
spoilers,
don't.
bro.
But
You're right.
whatever.
Sorry.
Yeah, but
spoilers.
like
Sorry.
they do for the series, he's not on here anymore.
It's time for the plot. This movie sucks a lot. Please don't click the dislike button. Please
It's
don't
not
click
our
the
fault. It's
dislike
George Lucas.
button. Like
He
the
made this
video,
whole
like the
movie in
video,
post.
like
He
the
made this
video,
whole
like
movie
the
in post.
video.
Ladies and gentlemen, we get the scroll, the famous scroll. But instead of this time setting up an incredibly exciting thing, we get a lot about taxes and a trade federation. Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. The taxation of outlying star systems is in dispute. Which is if you're a line that if you're a 10-year-old kid, you'd be like, Mom, what does that mean? And it's one of those things, if my kid turned to me, I'd be like, I have to pretend like I know what this is talking about. Otherwise, I lose ground
Bad
in this
stuff,
fight.
son. Bad stuff.
Nothing more exciting than taxes. The Trade Federation has a bunch of ships that are stopping all shipments, shipping to the small planet of Naboo, while the Congress debates. The Supreme Chancellor has sent 2 Jedis in secret to settle the conflict. Why in secret? Why in secret, I wonder? They are the galactic peacekeepers. They are ambassadors of negotiating.
Well,
Why send them into? Why
Well,
not
to
tell
be
everyone we're
fair-
sending the Jedi?
To be fair, they were gonna strong arm the situation. Like we get
To be
that.
fair, are
in
the
next-
Jedi nice people? Because Qui-Gon pulls a lot of shit in this movie that's like, you're evil, dude.
Yeah, maybe don't
Cheating.
bet everything on this 10-year-old.
Oh God, Christ's sake! Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna win. I can feel it.
I got Call McGonagall. Oh my God, that's a shout out. Fuck it, you guys get it. Qui-Gon Jinn. and Obi-Wan I was gonna say if you're first time coming in here, but no, this is not the first one.
a callback.
It's a callback. Thank
Yeah,
you.
not a shout
Whatever. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi land on a Trade Federation ship, and they wear their hoods because being intimidating is super important when on a peaceful secret mission and a trade dispute. Obi-Wan has a bad feeling about this, guys.
It's a Star Wars movie.
I got a bad. Someone's got to say I got a bad feeling about this. Obi is still an apprentice, and Qui-Gon schools him on how to negotiate. And then
lightsaber.
and what's I do like some of the back and forth here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you got to be in the moment, and you have to like he's like you're too worried about what's going on. Like focus on the now.
The movie's not
And he's-
bad yet.
and he's teaching him about.
Oh, yeah.
Their dynamic is great because he's teaching him about how to be like, dude, fucking like basically
Yeah, yeah,
relax.
be cool,
man. Like,
be cool, yeah.
you're a fucking
All
Jedi.
of, like I love all of this. I
like the back of the how they land. I thought it was cool where like the 2 pilots are sitting there and they're like, nothing bad could happen to us in the
Yeah.
next 5 minutes.
I love the.
I'm sure we're not
the-
about to die.
We're about to get there, but I love the gassing scene. And as soon as they get up, like it's just, I'm watching it on my phone, and
I love that the droid
in
gets
the
scared.
in the YYZ airport, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, this is cool.
Of course, they're taken to a little room to chill out for a little conference room, have a little refreshment and all that stuff. And then we go to the bridge and we get introduced to the Viceroy and his right-hand
Newt
person,
Gunray.
Newt Gunray. And they speak the way they speak.
Yes, they do.
And they look the way they look, which is a choice that if I were George Lucas's boss, I'd be like, this is not going to age well. Having said that, we're in 2002. It was a different time back then, evidently. And they're super pissed off that the Jedis are there. Nobody told them they were coming, and they're like, we don't know what to do with these 2 super lethal fucking Force Knight killing machines that are down in our thing. Let's call Lord Sidious, and he'll tell us what to do. And Lord Sidious is like, you should just go kill them. and they're like, ooh, okay, we'll call that option A. Is there an option B that doesn't involve pissing off the fucking wizards
guys
with the
with the
lightsabers?
laser swords?
Yeah, laser sword guys. And they're like, nah, just go kill them. So they gas the Jedi. But little do they know the Jedi have the Jedi breathing trick, which is apparently just holding your breath.
Which is also an interesting thing, which this is science with Kev potentially.
Yeah.
But 10 minutes later, we see that they have breathing apparatuses?
Yeah.
In their pockets?
Yeah, in their pockets.
Well, that's for
it's
water.
A bat
that's
it's a
for
bat
water.
utility belt.
You know?
Science, I don't know.
It's
about
a
that.
bat utility belt.
Because once you go underwater, isn't like the pressure and all that stuff like crazy?
Sure, but it also
Yeah.
probably breaks down water and makes into oxygen.
Oxygen, yeah, you
Yeah.
could do that with that.
Which
which
They,
is
they,
great.
they
They
bought
make
the
it real
cheap. They
high.
bought the cheaper version. They didn't have the
They
gas
have
version.
the gas one, yeah.
They hold their breath as a bunch of really cartoonish droids surround the exterior of the conference room. And man,
Roger.
who needs a sequel to Roger Rabbit when you've got
Roger.
Roger?
Roger.
Roger.
I have
They're
a
in
question.
the episode 9 trailer.
When they make these fucking droids with higher authority, do they just paint them a different color and say you are of a higher authority now?
This is right.
What makes
The blues and the reds.
yeah, like
different.
I understand. I understand that there are different
Ranks.
levels, right? Different ranks. But does a robot like outperform somebody, or do they just say, "All right, you're the smarter one with
Nah, they
better"?
just made a bunch of
directing?
commander ones. Probably had slightly better connections to like the thing that controls them all.
Yeah, the Apple IIc that controls all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, they get out and they make very, very quick, very, very boring work of these droids, and they make their way to the bridge. And then we get a really cool scene where the bridge, he's like, close the door. And they close the door, and Qui-Gon goes, I'm going to do what every kid has always wanted to do with this thing. I'm going to
Stick it
burn
in
a
the
hole
fucking door.
through 8 feet of steel with this thing, and it works.
I do love how they're reacting inside. Like, this is not
shit!
fucking
They're like,
possible. Those
we're
are blast
fucked.
I
doors.
told you we should have
But
killed
then,
these
so
things.
this is a thing that was the coolest thing possible when I was a little kid, and doesn't stand up graphically now, but I still love the designs of the little
droidicas.
the
Droidicas, yeah.
the droidicas, and then the little destroyers come out and they like roly poly,
With their little
pop up,
shields.
and then they have the shields,
The
and
bubble
boom, boom,
shield.
boom, and the way that it sounds, I'm like, this is fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
I love it.
And apparently,
But it just doesn't look great.
Jedis have never trained against things that have shields before because they were like, we don't know what to do. Luckily, we can run at supersonic speed. So they do. They run at supersonic
But
speed.
only
Yeah,
in this
that.
scene and not at the end of the
Only
movie.
in one scene. They decide to they jump down a ventilation shaft and find an invasion force in the hangar. They decide to stow away on separate ships and meet on the planet's surface. Why? I don't know. You were right about one thing. The negotiations were short.
They got on the ventilation shaft.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Ring. Queen Amidala calls the viceroys and tells them that their trade boycott of the planet has ended. They play dumb about the ambassadors, the Jedis that are supposed to be there, and I don't really know what's happening except Jesus, the Trade Federation. Well, okay, I'm
In one of the worst fucking
Sing
like
that line out.
FaceTime looking things we ever saw with Natalie Portman talking to them, I'm like, with Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned, to me, invented the idea of holograms
Yeah.
talking to me, right?
Yeah.
So fucking cool,
really
so
cool.
fucking great. That didn't look cool ever. Like just this weird, like goopy wall that kind of like talks to
it's
you.
probably because you couldn't get past the fact that she was dressed like a Japanese geisha the entire time for no reason.
I mean, the reason was to distract that that's not really a queen. It's for
But
show.
no one else. I was like, no one else is dressed like that.
Is that the reason?
I think so.
I think that was just like,
No, I
this
think
is
it's
what
a
the
loyalty
queen wears.
thing. Yeah, I think it's just
Yeah.
like
Also,
She a
like,
fancy
how
bitch.
old was she supposed to be?
14.
Yeah, so maybe it's also to hide her age. Why would anyone?
Oh, my problem's not
elect-
that. My problem is that she's dressed like she's Japanese, and everyone else is dressed like they work at Disneyland. Like none of the costumes really make sense with that aesthetic. I'll
Queen
move
of
on.
England always dresses like Umbridge, right? Always got the little pink
Yeah, but so does
everywhere.
everyone around her.
No, she doesn't.
She actually does. Well, not pink, but she dresses in like that. Like, have you seen her lately?
In that
God bless
style,
her.
but like
God
it's
bless
not
her.
big like Umbridge.
But it would be. Don't you think it'd be weird if like you go to London, you go to the palace,
It's
right?
some Red
and you
Queen
see the
shit,
palace
right?
guards that are dressed like little pomp in the pants and stuff like that, and then you go in and she is dressed like a fucking samurai,
Like a Gundam.
She's just dressed like
Yeah.
a Mecha Godzilla. Down on Naboo, Palpatine calls Amidala and plays dumb away. He's like, "Oh, Jedi should get there. I don't know where they went." And then a bad signal cuts off, and I guess that can only mean one thing: invasion. Mm-hmm. The governor's like, "A bad signal means invasion," or he's going through a tunnel in Malibu. We don't really know. Amidala wants to hold out for the negotiations because everyone is distracted by her appearance. That was just me. Sorry. You can get. You got something on your lip, just right here. That's what I wrote in there. It's
Great joke.
I love that it got him before it even came
Yeah.
out.
God damn me. I will not condone a course of action that will lead us to war, is what she said. She wants to negotiate. Too late. The trade forces land on the planet and start cutting down trees and shit, and Qui-Gon saves Jar Jar, and the world is worse off for it. Oh, Mui, I love you.
Useless fucking character.
Oh, Mui.
I hate him so much.
I mean, and honestly, the existence of Jar Jar is the one thing that really makes me hold credence to the fact that nobody can argue that this is a good movie.
No.
Yeah.
Like, and that's unfortunate. Like that, there's no matter how many cool elements are there, there's not even an argument that this is good. It's not good.
I feel
because of this.
again, I feel bad for the actor. He went through a lot of shit and he went through a lot of like
Sucks.
depression. But like watching the movie again, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. I'm kind of hoping, maybe this time, no,
Maybe it'll click this
It's
time.
always
It
really,
doesn't.
really not good.
I mean, it's not the actor's fault, and he's not like super. Like he's not recognizable. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like except for the people that like want to be dicks and like
Yeah,
lift him up.
it's
Part
just
like
bad.
the Star
Yeah.
Wars fandom who know like who that actor is.
Yeah,
who, like,
yeah,
drove
yeah.
him
Again, it's
to
like
that.
when they give the what's her name, Kelly, the girl that played Rose Tika.
Yeah.
Shit, don't
Yeah.
give the
Kelly
actor
Mary
shit.
Tran,
They're
yeah.
just doing what they're told to do. They took a role in a cool series that they love. Fuck off. Don't give him shit. George Lucas, give him shit. He's the one that
So
sat
much
down and was like,
shit.
"Oh, Mui, I love it so much." Like George, and then like a second was like, "What was that, George? What was that, George?" And he just hears this, "Oh, Mui." And then oh, God
It's
Christ.
crazy to see like documentaries from the prequels and like seeing the fandom like get all excited for like what came out and like people got tattoos of Anakin and Jar Jar. And then it like came out, and it was like, was that a bad decision?
Yeah.
Man,
That's
I was stoked, dude. Like leading
still
up, I
thinks it's a good
would always
decision.
I was buying like I was having my parents buy rather every one of like the 12 packs of sodas that had like
The
all the
cans?
cool
Yeah,
cans on
those
them
are
or whatever.
rad.
And I collected all the cans and of course all the cool toys at all the different stores. But more importantly, I remember seeing on one of the promotional images that C-3PO had like no gold plating. So for some reason I thought this movie took place in the future. It never occurred to me this is a prequel, even though it was called Episode
someone
1.
stole his gold from him.
So I always thought that like, oh, this is like his
Something
the
happened.
new iteration of him or
Yeah.
whatever. It was such a
He's
mystery
lightweight
to me.
now.
Yeah, it was such a mystery to me.
Qui-Gon calls Jar Jar brainless, but then is like, you know what, you can just hang out with us for the rest of this thing because you're a fucking brainless idiot.
Why?
But you know what? I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Well,
isn't-
because he
isn't
needs
it
him to
he's-
go to the he's like,
No,
we
no,
can
but
hide out
before
there.
that-
after that,
No, but before
Why?
that, it was Qui-Gon saved his life, so he was like, I'm
He owes him
indebted to
a
you.
life debt. And I was
Also,
like,
you
cool,
kept me
kill
alive
yourself.
here. You can keep me alive longer. I think that's what that was. And then afterwards, because it was a little bit after that, where he was like, we can always go to Gungan City.
That's true.
And then,
Also,
sorry, last thing. When they get to Gungan City, they're like, oh, we're going to punish him. They're going to fucking kill him.
They should have
Yeah.
killed him.
Yeah.
I think when they're underneath
Imagine that.
when they're talking to Jar Jar underneath all the trees and everything, I believe that this is a shot where they probably did reshoots because Obi-Wan looks like he maybe put up like maybe 5 pounds, like not a little bit. He looks a little bit like
little thicker?
but it looks like he has a wig on. His
Probably.
hair looks like not the same as it does the rest of the movie. And there's several scenes like that where
Maybe it was CG.
it looks terrible. It looks really, really bad.
This
Yeah.
is one of those
It
movies where
annoys
like
me.
you know the old saying like we'll fix it in post. This is one of those movies where like we'll just make it in post. We'll
Yeah.
just whatever the hell we need. We'll just CG it. Obi-Wan catches up to him, so it's super smart that they had that throwaway line where they're like, "We're gonna take separate ships."
Why?
Why? Did we? Would have been so cool if they took the same ship and we got a great scene with
more
them like
dialogue.
going like, "Oh God,
Best
we have to
part
land on
one
this
of the best
planet."
things that this movie has is dialogue between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
Everyone.
No.
Obi-Wan catches up with them and they blast some droids and then bounce. Excuse me, but most the safest place is Gunga City, and Jar Jar is, but he's been banished, so I guess we can't go back there. Well, then why would you say it, you fucking moron? But Qui-Gon doesn't care. He says, if those Trade Federation forces find us, we're dead. So let's bounce. Okay, cool. And then they go into the water. And then what's hilarious is they're like, there's a line later where the Trade Federation's like, we can't find this other city that's underneath the water. Well, apparently they never just poked their head under, because like within 4 feet we see Gunga.
But no, they do find it later. And remember, because when
Super
they go
easily,
back to them,
yeah.
they're like, oh, it's deserted. Where would they go? Oh,
Idiot.
there's this other place.
I'll tell you what, as a kid who never knew how to swim, like everybody wanted lightsabers as a kid, I wanted the breathing apparatus.
breathing apparatus.
Oh, that's the
That-
coolest
so
thing in the
I
world.
just remember
dude.
that 'cause I saw that. I was like, they stole that shit from Batman. Because Batman used to have that thing in his utility belt. He'd put it in and he'd just dive under. And, you're like,
And then
that's
I
so
love
cool.
the concept of like these walls made of like some sort of liquid, whatever,
cool.
and
Yeah.
you like kind
Which
of
makes
the
total
sound
sense.
design in this movie is fucking
doesn't-
phenomenal.
what
It
doesn't-
makes, it makes total sense that these people live under the water in a fully oxygenated environment. Why? They're sea people.
Come on, it's cool.
Because they're frogs.
But they could live on. Why do you have oxygen? Okay, whatever.
What doesn't make any sense to me is like why their weapon, because like they're sticks and then energy, like EMP balls.
Yeah.
Where it's like before this, you didn't have electrical like enemies. Like the droids are a new threat. They literally just landed on the planet.
Also, you live in water.
Why is,
So it seems silly to have electrical
seems
energy
like a
in water.
bad thing to throw at someone.
They live in water under the sea in air bubbles with electricity all around them. That's this movie.
Well,
in a
the air
nutshell.
bubbles. I mean, you have to.
The
be
air
an
bubbles
oc-
are
you
cool.
can't- It's hard to move around in water. You can't fucking.
They're frogs.
You ever try to have
They're
sex
like
in
fish
water?
people.
Yeah, but
difficult.
like it's still just annoying to like.
Hey, man.
maneuver.
You ever seen Jason Momoa swim? I rest my case.
Wow.
Back to it. The Gungans don't care. They decide, let's see. They're brought into the Gungans who hate the Naboo because they know how to speak properly, apparently, without sounding like dumb shits. The Gungans don't care. They decide to help the Jedi anyway by giving them a bongo, which will take them through the planet's core. And the CG looks so bad here it hurts. This is one of those sequences where like this is what we constantly get in this movie. Now, Normally, you get scenes where, like good screenwriting, at least from what I understand, the scene starts and then there's like a conflict point and then it ends, but it ends on a different emotional note than when it starts. Every scene in this movie, they go, Tim, I want you to do something for me. And you go, I don't want to do that. And then I go, are you sure? And they go, okay.
Yeah. That
That's
literally happens
every
about 4 times.
Fucking scene. That anytime they're like, and at no point do the Jedi have to do something cool to overcome this thing. They just kind of talk
Mind
their way
trick
through
it.
it. And then,
but it's like, but they don't do that though. It's like it happens time and time again.
Right.
Like, hey, we're gonna go to Tatooine. You stay here. Padme's like, no, I want to come with you. All right, fine, cool. Oh, hey, we're gonna take Anakin. Shmi, is that cool? Nah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Fine.
yeah, are
It's
you
just,
sure?
What
'Cause
is going on?
And it's not even like they don't even wait. It's in the same scene.
Yeah.
Like normally, if you have that, the scene would end and they'd be like, "You're not taking my son with you," and then something else would happen to make her realize that he should go with them.
Yeah.
And that thing usually is dictated by one of the other characters, but we don't necessarily get. Anyway,
Also,
Real quick,
that thing bothers you guys, but for me, it's like the Zoras from Zelda and the Gungans from here are the same because why does their leader look like a different species?
I have no idea. That's a great
Why
point.
does
There's always a bigger fish.
Why does he look different? I don't
Oh my
get
god,
it.
that's a perfect example. We're getting that right. Great.
Real quick, Tyler Newgroove in the chat says when they fought the Nubians, is that the right way to say
The
it?
Nabooians?
Nabooians, there you go. They would EMP their guns and shit, like as a response to like why they had those orb things.
When did they do that?
So no, but just the
When did that
idea
happen?
of them having to come within throwing range of someone with a
they
gun.
They have the,
you know
the
what I
little
mean?
javelin thing. A, but B, that is not in this movie.
Yeah.
And we never see that, so it's never explained. why
I'm
they
just
have those
saying,
things.
No, but I
like-
buy that though.
I buy
like
it, sure.
there's two groups on a
The
planet that don't like each
swinging
other.
thing.
Qui-Gon-
Develop a gun. You see someone else have it.
Qui-Gon decides to save Jar Jar by pulling the old life debt stuff, and we go on. Except Jar Jar doesn't want to go at first because he's like, "Oh, I'd rather stay here," and then go to the core. And then he's like, "Oh wait, they're gonna kill me, so I'll go again." Oh shit, wait, they're gonna kill me. I go. No one even said that to him. He just had that moment
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
They go. Let's see. Jar Jar was banished because he was clumsy, and you're like, "Oh, that's cool. Maybe he'll make up for that later by not being clumsy at a very pivotal moment and save stuff." Or he'll just be clumsy again.
Yeah,
And
we're
fall
gonna
into
reward
shit.
him.
This guy
He's
falls
He's gonna
upwards.
go from general, and he ends as general in this movie.
Yeah.
To the senator.
Yeah.
Palpatine's spot.
Yeah.
Right?
That's Palpatine's spot. They go into the ocean in the bongo, whatever, and a big goober fish.
Whatever.
And they're chased by a big goober fish. And then this is the best part of this whole movie. Qui-Gon looks at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan looks at Qui-Gon and goes, "We have to use our Jedi training right now." And it's a great moment for Obi-Wan's character to really grow because he's not a master yet. So instead of like him taking care of it himself, he goes, "Obi, you got to go out there. You got to face this fish." No. That actually doesn't happen. I'm sorry. A bigger fish just eats that fish.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's all we get. And then we get another bigger fish, and then Obi kind of like does a twirl, and that fish bites its own tail or whatever, and then they get off.
When the first big fish thing happens, I'm like, wow, I remember this scene being a lot longer. And then it was because there was just another additional fish. That's like, why did you do the same kind of
There's
cool thing
always
twice?
a bigger fish, Andy.
But I'll tell you what, this really, really kind of like ramped up my fascination with a
Sea
giant
creatures?
sea
Yeah.
life.
You mean
Like,
horror, right?
I mean, it's
Of,
cool.
like, what's
Yeah, I'm
underneath
scared,
there?
but it's awesome.
I thought you were going to talk about the scene where they knock out Jar Jar Binks, and it was like, thank fucking God.
Oh, no. I
It's like, oh, too much. It's like,
Steven
no, no,
Seagal
dude.
break his neck.
me being a dumbass kid, like at this point, I think I was probably 8 when I first saw the trailer for episode 1 in theaters. And there's a scene of all the Gungans walking in the like fog in the swamp, and it horrified
It looks
me.
like the scene from A Bug's
I
Life.
remember having to psych myself up. I'm like, I've seen all the Star Wars movies a million times. I don't know if I can handle this one. Like, you know that feeling when you're like in line for a roller coaster and and you're like, I'm gonna do this, but I'm scared.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had that
It
feeling.
always reminded me of the Bugs Life scene where Hopper and the crickets are like
Exactly.
walking through the mist. I was
Maybe
as a
that's
kid,
the
I
thing
was-
that
really
fucked me
cool
up.
scene.
Maybe. The droid. Meanwhile, the droid army captures the Queen. Victory! Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan get off the submarine ride at Disneyland and head for the Royal Palace, while the Viceroy says he's going to sign a treaty with the Queen, which will be legitimized through the Senate, even though this whole thing was super illegal from the get-go, and nobody knows what's happening at all. If Her Highness does not cooperate, the suffering of her people will change her mind. Amidala and her guards are taken to the Camp 4 for processing, but before they can get there, Obi-Wan does the splits and takes out a couple droids, and then the action is so bad they literally use cutaways of the droids just getting sliced by lightsabers.
Dude, so much of
They
the
needed
action
to
in
make
this
this-
movie is just Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan just going like this, and then in post them adding lasers to hit those things and
it's
bounce
so
off.
fucking dumb.
Man, how these droids are like. We always make fun of how
Useless.
bad the aiming that the stormtroopers have, but like when Obi-Wan has come at you with a clearly telegraphed. It's like it's the slowest move, and they just wait there.
It's bad.
It's such a slow wind up, man.
They say
Also, they
go
kind of
ahead.
react like, as they're getting sliced. I always thought that was
They're
weird.
robots.
Yeah, they're robots. Like,
They save the Queen and grab her group, and they head to the hangar, and they talk the Queen into coming with them to Coruscant, where they can plead their case to the Senate. Then they casually walk to a group of pilots being held hostage by the droids, and Obi-Wan does the splits again, and then they beat the droids pretty much with ease.
It was weird that he did the splits back
Twice.
to back that quick.
Too
a
many
lot of
times.
splits.
Yeah,
It's,
Too many
it's
times.
almost as if George was like, wait, you can do the splits? And he was like,
Do it again.
how can I make him do the splits all the time in post?
The amount of times that you have of those, split it.
Yes. Yeah, that would be good.
At
That'd be
this
good.
point, so this is-
real quick. I want to, in defense of the battle droids, I like that they're kind of stupid and just they go down easily because the idea for them is that it's quantity, not quality, and it's like they address that later with it being humans, and we need humans
but
to
I
be
feel
an
like
army and whatever.
for a while, like just a force push is enough to get rid of them. Really.
Yeah.
This scene is a perfect example of why these were a terrible choice. One, I understand why he made them because he was like, I want to see lightsaber. Like this is the first time we're really going to see Jedis do crazy shit with
Wanna slice
lightsabers.
up stuff?
So they got to slice stuff, and those things can't be that many humans until the next one.
Well,
where we just slice a bunch of humans.
I don't know if you noticed it or not, but when we watched the Rise of the Skywalker trailer, there's a battle droid head in the back.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Great. We'll see what JJ does with those. But this is a perfect scene, right? Where like the scene has no tension whatsoever, and they go up and they just house these fucking things, and then someone goes, "Whoa, move! We gotta go!" And then they like kind of run onto the ship, and I'm like, "Why? There's 2 more droids left. You don't need to move. There's nothing. It's not like in the original trilogy, a door would have opened and 400 stormtroopers would have run out. In this one, there's one droid that's like, I'm good, man. I'm just going to fucking 7-Eleven. All right? I'm done with this. I quit. Anyway, let's see. Somebody else moved, yada yada. Oh, then they go up to space, and there's a blockade up there. Oh, that's great. But the shield generator gets hit, so they send 3 droids, including R2-D2, up there to fix it, and he gets the job done. The droid's a hero, but there's not enough power to go to Coruscant, so they need to land at the closest planet possible, which is Tatooine, to refuel. But Tatooine is run by the Hutts, who is Jabba, Ginny, and Anthony Hutt from Jersey Shores. I just like that the Hutts run the whole thing. The Hutts.
But also, why does everybody speak Huttese?
Why
It's-
wasn't
it's so
Jabba the Hutt?
interesting to
Jabba
me.
the Hutt was just this cool gangster that lived on this planet. Why does he suddenly have an extended family that he like worries about going to Christmas with?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, I got anxiety again because the
For the
holidays going around. I don't know if I'm
shows,
going to go to Gina's family or Anthony's family.
They needed to extend that shit as much as
And
possible.
Gina's like a big Trump fan. I'm just like,
oh
fuck, I
my
can't
god!
do it.
Well, Gina's mom's a big Trump fan.
R2, man. Why? That's a bad sound out there. But
I-
why R2?
I
Like, why? Do you need to be here? Why do you need to be part of this at all?
Honestly,
to introduce him, like
it's-
to give us what's familiar, right?
But that's
It's
the
fan
problem,
service.
though. It's like
Oh, absolutely,
we're about
it's
to go to
fan service.
Tatooine. Like we're getting something familiar. We're getting enough. We don't need this. We don't need him to have a hero moment. But I will say that this is the first moment in my life that people cheered in a movie theater, and I was like, oh shit, hell yeah!
I mean, like
At the time,
to be fair, it's a really cool moment.
it's like fan
Those
service
little-
bullshit. It's like it doesn't service the movie. It services
Yeah.
the clapping moment. But like, can you guys remember a moment in a movie in a theater where people were clapping before the end of the movie?
No.
Before that?
No.
I don't remember my
Before
early.
that?
yes,
or, like,
there are
now?
multiple moments
Before
where that's
that,
happened,
okay.
but I can't remember.
It was when
offhand
Attack
right
of the
now.
Clones ended. Everybody was like, fucking thank God, Jesus Christ.
That's when I like.
That would be
finished my
after
homework.
that, right?
After that happens, let's see. Oh, here we go. The Viceroy calls Sidious to tell them that they lost the Queen, so Sidious introduces them to his apprentice, Darth Maul, and goes, you know what, he'll find them. And the Viceroy is like, they end the call, and the Viceroy is like, we shouldn't have made this deal. This is a bad thing. And it's like, why would you end it that? Oh, God. Down on the Queen's ship, they commend R2-D2 for just doing his job, which is a completely useless and totally fan service scene. This droid should be commended. Have
What's
you
his
ever
name?
commended a
None
droid?
None of the other droids ran away. You know, it's not like one of the other droids was like, fuck this.
But also-
it went back into the thing. They
That's-
got blown up.
It's in this world. It's like commending your iPhone for doing its job, for calling your friend. Hey, good job, man. You really got me at I had a flat tire. Thanks, iPhone. Little fucking, you make a little medallion that goes around it. We have the cool music at the end.
I tell my Google thank you
God.
every once in a while.
I say please because when the machines take over, I want them to remember me.
I ask for the weather and it tells me, and I'm like, thank you. And it's like, you're welcome. I'm like, huh.
Yeah. The Queen orders Padme to clean up the droid as best as she can, and Qui-Gon tells them that they're going to Tatooine, but Captain Panaka, who you have to assume has been one of the Queen's generals for a solid 10 years, is like, I don't agree with this plan. But instead of having there be conflict, Qui-Gon goes, you just got to trust my judgment. And then the scene ends.
well,
I'm
You have a
magical,
laser
bro.
sword.
I love the
And there's no further no further
I
discussion.
love
of
the
that.
idea though of like fake Amidala being like, clean up this droid, and real Amidala being like, bitch, come on, like, what are you doing?
As she leaves, she's like, I'm gonna get you.
I fucking all
I'ma get you,
right,
baby."
hold your fucking slow your roll.
I have a feeling she was like, I want to clean this droid myself. You're going to tell me to clean this droid because this droid just saved our lives and he's a hero.
No, you're lying.
Oh
no,
my God.
that's
And
not
I'm
how
also
it
going to
works.
put my kid's going to put a message in this story later, but no one's going to remember it.
God, dude.
It doesn't matter. They land on Tatooine, and they need a hyperdrive generator. So Qui-Gon and Jar Jar head off with Padme, because that makes sense, too. Padme's like, the Queen wants to keep an eye on you, so it's like, but why? Okay, it doesn't matter. They head into town, and we see moisture farms just like Uncle Owen's, and Jar Jar steps in poo-poo.
Oh, Doody, Poochie.
Oh, boy.
I
Jar Jar
hate-
talks
I
the way
hate
you talk
Jar
when
Jar.
you're in the toilet.
Oh my God, it's true.
It's true.
Poochie,
I'm a machichi. Oh, Kevin.
Now we know where you got it.
I hate it.
Oh my God. Let's see. They try one of the small dealers, and we finally meet Watto. And
We
Anakin.
finally meet Watto.
I'll say this.
Please do.
I was like, oh God, this is gonna be hilarious. We're gonna meet Watto. Watto's actually one of the more fun characters that they interact with.
I love when he's like
Absolutely.
that, bro.
Because, and here's why. I figured it out this time around. He's the only character that says no to them, and that scene is not immediately resolved in that scene. He goes, "Fuck you, no," and they go, "Cool, we got to figure something else out." And then they go back to him. And they have to use something to overcome that conflict.
He's still a problematic character as well.
I love
though.
him though.
I mean, yeah,
Mostly 'cause I
there's a
love
lot of
him.
racism.
Mostly 'cause
There's a lot
I
of
enjoy
racial.
him.
There's
I
a lot of
enjoy
really
him.
bad stuff. But I was
well, let's put.
I was at the airport and I had the
Nope.
phone. I had the movie up on my phone. And I was like, Nick, can you watch my bags? I want to go get something to eat real quick. And I'm walking, and as I'm like getting stuff, I have the movie paused, but I accidentally like tapped the fast forward button and it played. So I wasn't really like I accidentally tapped somewhere in the future in the movie, and I have my Bluetooth headphones on, and all I hear is. And I was like, oh, fucking Watto's on the screen.
It was apparently a deleted scene where Watto was taking a shit.
It was just like in the middle of one of like, there's a moment of silence, but all I heard was, it was so fucking funny to me, man.
Oh man! So they go in. We meet Watto and Anakin. And Anakin asks Padme if she's an angel from the moons of Viego, and then Padme's like, I don't know what it is about this small child, but I'm in love.
I love the
Jesus.
idea of that, though. I love little peppering in little tiny moments of like, these are kind of fairy tales that they tell in this world, and the moons of Viego just sounds awesome. It's
Yeah.
just like a cool
You're right.
thing.
That does. Everything about
Oh,
the scene,
horrible.
though,
Stupid.
it's so fucking
bad.
bad. And in the same way that Obi-Wan loves doing the splits, why does this kid love saying yippee?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. But Anakin apparently is a pilot. He's like, I'm a great pilot, and I can make a lot of good stuff.
Why?
How are you a pilot?
Because you know why? Because there was one line of saying like, "Well, my dad was he was a great pilot. Yeah, he was, but he was also
And
this."
how do you know
and
you've been
he
alive?
wasn't a master builder.
You've been
Like,
alive for 3 years. How do you know you're a great
But
pilot?
not only that, but he's a slave. Now I know they have the throwaway line later where they have small explosives in there, like the Running Man.
Which I don't believe at all. 'Cause
I don't believe that, A,
we don't
and
get a
B-
scene where they take it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we never get to see him take it out. And B, he's this unbelievably smart electrical engineer, and he can't find a fucking explosive device. And him and his mom, and he's a pilot. So I'd be like this: hey, kid, instead of pod racing, why don't you spend that time freeing your mom and you and flying you the fuck off this dirt hellhole?
I love the idea though. Like I wish they would have not had the
We never
whole.
see him fly before this, and he just goes, "I'm a great
Pod
pilot."
racing.
Pod
Well, yeah,
racing's not flying.
I wish
though.
they would have
As
never-
we know, because when he gets in a fucking plane later, he goes, where's the trigger?
I wonder what this button does.
What does this
oh,
one
no,
does?
that
says
wasn't
start?
it. Does this?
What is this?
Shit.
Oh, I found the trigger
Yippee.
on the fucking joystick where it always is in every fucking plane. You know why they put it there? Because it's called a trigger.
You ever play Ace Commander? I love. I don't love the idea that they introduced that line that I'm a great pilot, but I really, really think it's cool when he's sitting there at the table and he's like, I do pod races. I'm the only human who can do it.
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
That's a
cool to
cool
me.
But see,
moment.
that would have been fine if that's the only thing we get from this kid.
Yeah.
If it's just this kid's a little weird, and then he sits down and goes, "I love pod racing," and then someone goes, "He's the only person that he's like no other like not I'm the only person that can." Do it."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the only
It's
human.
someone else should have been like
They should have had his little
pod
friend
racing.
there.
No, you're a human though. You're like a Terran or whatever they call him. Like no other human could do that. And then Qui-Gon goes, "Oh, this kid's something special." Instead, this kid's like this. This kid's trying to get into Harvard.
I'm good at
I'm
pod
great at this.
racing.
I'm great at this. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about me. It's all exposition. Oh God.
What about your
And I
time?
think-
What about your timetables, bitch? You know, like.
Yeah.
Well, how do you do with your long multiplication?
Oh, you're
you
good
know?
at piloting? How about
community
freeing your
service
fucking
like?
mom? You
Yeah.
good at that? You good at that? Huh? All right. God, people are gonna hate us for this one. Anakin's, and then she's like,
Are
"Oh,
they?
you're."
They
I don't
can't because my intro song, which you sung over, had lyrics in there to like ask for not to hate the video, but they couldn't hear it.
They're gonna hate it. And then she goes, "Oh, you're a slave." And Anakin goes, "I'm not a slave. I'm a person."
But like
And
you're
it's like,
also a slave.
Anakin.
And he's just, but it's like, why does this character have everything he needs for life? He's the main character of the next trilogy. Like, why? If she called him a slave, he should have been like, "You're right, I'm a slave." Like, he should have felt no self-worth until the Force gave him self-worth, until him trying to break away from the fucking literal and figurative binds of this slavery give him a reason to fucking be better. But no, he's like, "I'm not a slave, I'm a person." Cool. All right, man.
Cool.
And a pilot.
I guess
and an engineer.
And a
And I
cook.
can bang whatever queen I want. Any queen. I'm banging.
I'm gonna bang her and the handmaiden.
You know how they call Jamie Lannister the Kingslayer? I'm the queen banger.
Hell yeah, dude. Anakin
All right.
Skywalker, the
Queen banger.
Here's a big problem that starts in this scene, because this is the scene Anakin is introduced. I don't think there's a line of dialogue directed towards him that doesn't start with Anakin, blah, 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 or Annie. Every single fucking line of dialogue to him, they have to say his name. Every single one.
Well, also they call it's terrible. All
it's
right,
just so weird. That's not how people talk.
No.
Ever.
Outside, Qui-Gon tries to use Jedi mind trick on Watto, but he's not having it. He's like,
Why?
I'm not. He's like, what are you, you think you're a Jedi or something? Yeah, he does. He thinks he's a Jedi.
I
Yeah.
do like that though, because it like
I like that scene.
it harkens back to Jabba,
Jabba.
in
Weak-minded.
Return.
Cool. They're not the same species.
No, but it's not about species,
Yeah.
it's about
It-
weak-mindedness.
yeah.
And I get that. And I like the scene because
But,
it's,
like-
again, one of the rare instances where Qui-Gon just wants to do something and he meets some level of adversity that says, you can't do this.
But I do feel like it wasn't about weak minds. It is. He
I think
says,
it's a race. I'm a Toydarian.
I'm a Toydarian. I won't be fooled by mind tricks. So it like in this one, they're like unnecessarily like, oh, I guess.
Yeah, but that's
it's
like me
also,
saying, like,
different-
I'm an Italian. I'm not going to get a
Nah.
bad deal on this. I'm
Look,
going to get a bad deal anyway.
This is
'Cause Italians
this is
are
Harry
terrible
Potter.
negotiators.
Forget what you know, dude.
It is.
Like, how much did that series ever throw at you? Like, yeah, but the Bloopy Doobies have the Flarknarks.
But
Like,
I think-
oh, okay, we
Oh,
can't do that.
you're
But I think
right.
Kevin's point is very, very point is that it didn't used to be about species. It used
Yeah.
to be about like, hey, if you were a dumbass, it works on you. But if you're smart, like you would, the person who's like running a junk thing and has slaves and is like rising, and then it wouldn't
Well,
work on
I mean,
you.
this is just totally
needless. It's
this
needless
is-
exposition
This
of what
is
it is.
totally the same as
Han
you
Solo
know
being
adding
blind just so he can be not blind.
This is adding a scientific thing to midi-chlorians. Like they are
Unnecessarily, like, explaining,
scientificating
yeah.
it or whatever the word
No,
is.
we're
Like
gonna
they're
get to
trying
that
to
later.
Yeah.
they're trying to make it rooted in like an actual
Realism.
something you could read about in a biology book.
So they leave. Watto tells Anakin to clean the racks, and then he can go home for the day. And Anakin goes, "Yippee!" Outside, Jar Jar tries to eat a frog, but that he can't pay for, and he pisses off Sepulba. Sepulba.
Sebulba.
But Anakin saves him.
Mi chasa no pasa, Slimo.
Now, this is yet another instance where if Jar Jar had gotten them in trouble, they could have used their cunning to figure out how to like maybe, and this should have played into them getting challenged to a pod race. No, he's just like, go away. Okay.
This is like when
I wish Boba had punched him in the face and had just been like, "Oh
knocked
shit!"
him the fuck out. And Qui-Gon been like, I guess he's there now. we're leaving, dude.
Like prison rules. Back in the desert, there's a storm coming that will slow everything down. Anakin goes, "You guys aren't going to make it back in time. Why don't you use my house? You guys can stay there." Once there, Anakin shows Padme his droid, and that's not a sex joke. He actually literally shows her droid. But then we get introduced to C-3PO, who gets introduced to R2 for the first time. And then R2 goes, "Your parts are showing." And that is a sex joke. So I'm not the only one, Tim. I'm not the only
you
one.
and
Yeah.
R2.
You're exactly the same.
My
Right.
we are very similar.
Why did they take R2 with him?
Why did they take Jar Jar with them?
But
Why
like
did
a-
they take Padme with them?
Here's-
Why did they take anybody?
So you have-
Why didn't you take Obi-Wan with you?
Yeah. So I get they left Obi-Wan back there to help
To
protect
guard.
Guard the Queen?
But
Great.
you have this really cool droid. Or 2 droids. Like, trade them. Can't you just... Isn't there more shit on this ship we could trade for this thing we need? Like, R2. Like, how about this droid? We'll throw him in there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's a hero.
He's a hero. He's a hero droid. He's got a medal coming. We'll ship it to you. Right. Let's see. Amidala gets a message from her people are dying, and to contact Naboo.
You can't read
And everyone else knows is bait, so they don't respond. They're like, "Don't respond to this. It's bait." But that doesn't matter because the signal had some sort of tracking mechanism in it that the second it was received by anyone, they would know exactly where they were. Which makes sense because you figure you put a signal out to the entire galaxy. And multiple people get it, but the one ship that gets it that doesn't respond has to be...
You think it was encrypted, or everyone's just watching this, being like, "Oh man, they're
No
fucked."
idea. Sidious uses that to locate them on Tatooine, and he orders Darth Maul to go there and take out the Jedi first so we can bring Amidala back to Naboo so she can sign a peace treaty, which has absolutely no legal bearing whatsoever. Then we get this cool line. "At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last, we will have our revenge." And then Sidious is like, "Yeah, just go do the thing."
Yeah.
Okay?
All right, enough with
And then he like
yeah.
unveils his robe and like shows his dick. Like, no, not that
No,
reveal.
no, not that
different
thing.
reveal. Different reveal.
Just go.
I can't wait to watch
What's
the
up?
Robot Chicken Star Wars stuff again. 'Cause the
man.
way they do
Blue
with
Harvest.
Papa Palpatine, it's so fucking good.
Back on Tatooine, Anakin's mom, Shmi, is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
Shmi.
Tells them that they're all slaves have a small explosive device in them, which will detonate if they try to escape. And that's really cool setup for something that never pays off. Anakin, who was the best pilot in the galaxy with pretty much the equivalent to a PhD in mechanical engineering, can't find this small thing that's embedded in his body, even though it is
And
life-threatening.
people give Ray shit, you know?
After this, Rey's a god. Let's put it that way. Padme's thinks it's atrocious that there's slavery out there in the universe, and that's going to be the whole point of the next 3 movies. Nope, not at all. But all Anakin wants to talk about is pod racing, which he can do, which is impressive because he's a human, and humans can't usually do that. He must have reflexes like a Jedi, which Qui-Gon Jinn is. He's like
Old Jim.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Good old Qui-Gon Jim.
And he's like, you must have
It's like
reflexes.
old Ben Kenobi.
Qui-Gonathan James.
And then he accuses and he goes, Qui-Gon, you're a Jedi, right? And he goes, why would you say that? He goes, she's got a laser sword just like all the other Jedis. And he's like, maybe I am a Jedi. What's it to you, kid?
I love this exchange. I think it's really cool. It's like
Maybe I killed a Jedi.
It's yeah, I love that. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it. This just reminds me of
You
a little
can't kill
kid talking to
Jedis.
an adult and
Yeah.
like a cop or something. And a cop
Yeah,
being
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe I have falsely arrested.
Oh, Andy.
Maybe I have planted weed on people. Who knows?
And
They
then we
tell
get that
An-
scene where Jar Jar Binks is eating the food, right? And he catches it to
catches
show
it.
off, like, oh, look at their
fast reflexes.
Fast reflexes.
They tell Anakin and Shmi that they're in a pickle and they need money, but the junk dealers won't budge. Anakin comes up with a plan that involves his homemade pod racer, and I don't know where this slave kid gets all of this free time. I don't think, and this is me saying this, that people on Tatooine understand the virtues of slavery. Like, this kid just has all this time to be doing whatever the hell he wants, building a pod racer. I don't know. I'm just saying Watto's not running his shop right.
And he
Yeah.
looks like really well fed too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're living the life.
Yeah.
Anyway, the plan is as follows: Qui-Gon will tell Watto that the pod racer is his, and talk Watto into letting Anakin, his valuable slave, pilot it for them. Shmi puts her foot down. Pod racing is dangerous, but Anakin won't take no for an answer. He says, "Mom, you said the biggest problem in the universe is nobody helps each other." And Shmi goes, "No, you're not listening to me. I said the biggest problem is slavery. Slavery is the biggest problem." And the kid's like, "Oh, I misunderstood that. I'm sorry. You're right. This is a terrible situation that we're
Yeah,
in. Yeah,
right.
this is it." But Anakin won't. Anyway, I think. Let's see. And then he's like, "I want to help her." And she's like, "You know what? You're right." And then she talks to Qui-Gon again. It's just resolved. And she goes, "He can help you. He was made to help you." Cool.
What's her accent?
I don't know. It's like Dutch or something. Qui-Gon goes to Water to bargain. If we win, you keep the prize money and give us the parts we need. If we lose, you can keep the Queen's ship.
It's crazy, you know. Qui-Gon got into debt so easily. Back to the plot.
Obi-Wan doesn't like this plan but they really have no choice. He's like, this is really, really dangerous, but I guess you're right. Later that night, Qui-Gon has a quiet moment with Anakin's mom, who mentions that Anakin has magic powers, and Qui-Gon knows it's the Force. He can see things before they happen. That's why he can race. He can do pod race. It's a Jedi trait. And then he goes, who is his father? And Shmi goes, Jesus. Jesus Christ was his father. Our Lord and Savior. God.
You know what?
He has no father.
Earlier in this review, I said that Jar Jar was the worst thing. About this
No,
movie.
this is the worst.
This is the worst thing.
She didn't mean this literally, right? Like, this is one of those things where it's like the dad.
She says he doesn't have a father. And later they say he
I
was
always-
born of the Force.
I always assumed that was not a literal thing, where it
No,
was
yeah.
like,
No,
I
it's
raised
literal.
this kid
Here's
on
the
my
thing.
own.
You're
Raised
making
this-
it more interesting, where it's like, I'm a slave. Who the fuck knows who the dad is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my kid.
Could be
That's
one
not
of
it,
1,000
because
Wattos.
They turn him into Space
in this
Jesus.
movie, turned him into Space Jesus by saying the Force made him.
It's
Yeah.
a literal
Jesus
thing.
It's
fucking Christ.
Fucking awful.
Can you imagine how fucking upsetting that would be too? Just one day be like, fuck,
Great.
I guess I'm pregnant.
Didn't even do the fun part.
Gosh
Yeah.
darn it. Later we get a great scene where Anakin has some friends, including a little like chubby Greedo. He tells them that he's entering the Bunta race tomorrow, and the dialogue in the scene is enough to make me want to drink bleach. His
There's
friends
a
all.
deleted scene that calls him Greedo. Like, yeah, that is actually Greedo.
You're kidding me.
Swear to God.
Oh my god, what a terrible idea. So this is like lovely little,
What a terrible
this lovely
idea.
little kid turns
It
into a
is.
fucking piece of shit bounty hunter. That's
I mean,
like
that's
the
how-
scum of the earth.
Just like, oh, you tell
Was he a bunny hunter?
Darth Vader.
Greedo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. He was trying to take Han back to Jabba, dead or alive, right?
That's true.
Just like Gina and Anthony, the Hutts.
Tim just pointed out like the funniest thing right now.
What did I do?
You're like, you told me this little kid turned out to become the scum of the earth, and he was like, "Well, Anakin and Vader, yeah." Like, I have it too.
It'd be hilarious if that whole little group, they were all just fucking horrible
That
human
one
beings.
little kid that gets a lot of
This
lines.
is the Descendants
Turns out
movie.
being super abused as a slave, not great for your future careers.
One of those girls is Aura Singh. Like it's
God damn
it's
it.
all fucking connected.
His friends all doubt him and basically tell him he's going to die tomorrow, but thankfully Jar Jar is there to work on the pod and hopefully not fuck everything up like he always does, except he gets his hand stuck and his tongue numb and all that shit, and it's just a dumb scene.
But also, all the child actors in there were terrible, right?
Yeah.
Like I was shocked. It's like you couldn't get better.
And the one
actors?
girl had braces.
It was weird.
Whatever,
Little
Anakin,
braces
you
in
suck.
face.
Let's go play ball.
And the pod race is not quite working because it needs a power source, which is cool. You're like, oh, how are they going to get this power source? What is this kid going to do? Oh, no, Qui-Gon just gives him a little thumb drive. It's a power source.
I also really hated watching this movie on my phone because I use like the subtitles or whatever, and I'm always a subtitles user. But I up until this point I had never known what Jar Jar was saying while his tongue was numb, and it's just so dumb. And it's just
Isn't he saying his hand stuck?
No, he's my tongue is
Oh,
fat.
yeah.
My tongue is fat. My hand
fat tongue,
is stuck. My tongue. It's just so. Oh, it's so annoying, dude.
I'll be honest with you. Jar Jar is annoying, but doing Jar Jar, some of the most fun I've had on this podcast so far. Moi, volcano curry. It was good yesterday.
It could be good
that
today.
night, we should do it again.
You say the word.
Qui-Gon takes some blood
Are we
from
doing
Anakin.
this? I'll order right now.
Later that night, out on the stoop, just far away from everyone,
The stoop.
Qui-Gon takes some blood from Anakin, which no one questions. Man, I'll
He's-
tell you, if I
he's
fucking
like
just met
cleaning
you,
a cut, right?
he's like, let me take
Yeah, he's not cleaning a cut. He's 100%.
If I was Shmi, I'd be like,
fucking
no,
inject- or, like,
don't take blood
sucking
from my
this
kid. What are you interjecting?
Sucking blood.
He sends it to Obi-Wan to analyze the metachlorian count, which is off the charts, over 20,000, which is higher than Master Yoda's metachlorian.
over 9,000.
What does that mean? I'm not sure. I mean, basically, oh, okay. Oh, great. Never mind. Then we see Darth Maul.
I thought you were doing a bit.
I was gonna
of
do
the
a bit.
scene, which felt kind of like that. What's that mean? This is what it means.
Here's what it means. They don't say it then, but here's what it really means. It means we just defined something that never, ever, ever needed to be defined, and
Ever.
by doing so, completely destroyed the power of the Force.
The magic of it.
Any-
The magic of
the
it.
magic of
The
anything.
point of it
And once
is that it's
again,
supposed to be faith.
the Jedi Council, the concept of the Jedi Council actually not being good at running things and being kind of just comfortable and making a lot of really bad decisions.
And yeah,
is
losing
so
their way of like what the
fucking cool.
light side is about.
And then this is another thing of like, you're now bringing me someone that has this number that determines all this that is higher than we've ever fucking seen, and you're just like, nah, he's not. He's definitely not the one that the prophecy talked about. This exact thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about.
Also, they keep saying he's the chosen one who will bring balance to the Force. But if I looked around, I'd be like, it seems pretty balanced. There's a bunch of good people and no bad people.
No,
that's a good balance
That's
for me.
the balance we like.
I like that.
But that, and then we'll talk about this.
Like
more
when you talk
in
about balance
future
in the United
spoilers.
States, you don't want there to be as many terrorists as there are United States military.
Like, there's only
operation
2
people.
Sith.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah.
At this
You
point.
don't want to be like, how many people do we
not
have in the
that
armed
many.
services? 1 million? We got to balance that out.
There's
Call
only-
up ISIS.
There's only ever 2, right? The rule of 2 is just
Yeah.
say at the end of the
As
movie.
they defined in this one.
Yeah.
Why? Because you'd think you'd be like, I want 50 Sith people. As we saw, you know what I mean? Like, I'd
But,
want
like,
a bunch of these bad people.
The lore that like backed that up it no longer exists, right? Because it was like, oh, a long time ago there were a bunch of Sith and they were all killing each other, right?
Who the fuck knows?
Doesn't matter. Let's move on. And then, man, just when I thought this movie couldn't get worse, it gets awesome. Because Darth Maul lands on Tatooine. And the sound here
Oh my god.
sounds it reminds me of when they fought in Superman 2. Because it's like super minimalist. And it's like bongos, like faint bongos and like fucked up sounds. And he lands and he launches his little droids to go out there and look. So cool. And he looks dope in his
Here's
head.
an awesome
Here's the
sound
thing,
effect.
man.
I wish we
Like,
had
and maybe
so
it's
much
because
more
we
of
grew
it.
up with this so much, but like every single dumbass sound that they make, like that the aliens make, we know all of them. The intonation of all of it. It's so iconic. And that's why this movie still is Star Wars in a lot of ways.
Real quick, Lotus Chief did make a great point in chat. Lotus Chief was like, but he did bring balance to the Force. Became Vader.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
And in doing so, destroyed all the Jedi. So if I looked at it and be like, what is your definition of balance to the Force? And if they're like, oh, well, balance is we all
we
die.
want a 99% majority.
Yeah, we want there to be parity between the super evil people who are going to kill lots of people and us who are the protectors of the peace.
But,
That's
like, I
dumb.
feel like
it's a stupid concept.
When they came to test them and they're like, oh no, this is no good. He's too much darkness
He's
in
too
him.
old.
Like, don't you think Yoda should have walked up and been like, look at this, and just be done? Lightsaber to the eye.
Oh, okay.
Lightsaber to the eye.
I thought it was the
thought-
Terminator 2, like.
But I also,
with that sound effect,
but I
thought it
also
was
thought
something else.
He's a squirty little
Yoda's
green.
little bukkake.
no, no.
No, but
You think it'd be green?
my first thought was that like I thought he was doing a Jerry the King
Is your
Lawler.
cum
Look at this.
skin colored?
Yeah, Tim, is your cum skin color? Because mine's not skin color.
It's not.
Ew, you got to eat some more protein. The next day of the race is on. Everyone's money is on Sebulba, including Watto. But Qui-Gon sees an opportunity for a little side hustle. He wages his new pod for Anakin and Shmi's freedom, and he's like, "No pod is worth 2 slaves, not by a long shot." So Watto leaves it to the Chance Cube, but Jedis don't leave anything to the Chance Cube because they have the Force. Qui-Gon makes the cube land on blue, so they get Anakin because fuck Shmi. Because he literally had a choice. Like, I can free this kid's mom or the kid. I free the kid.
What?
Leaving the mom in slavery.
I don't understand why they don't come back to free her at some later
Immediately.
point.
Like,
at some, like
the
great.
Queen
at
of
the end of the
Naboo.
movie, it would be cool if they were like, "Hey, we brought back hella gold from Naboo, and now she's here in the party."
Like, land your ship in the
Yeah.
middle of the fucking town. Get all your soldiers together and be like, we're buying this woman's freedom.
This is one of those like presidential pardons.
Yeah.
like
And if Watto goes no, you go, oh, okay, hold on. Look in this little light right here. He just fucking blows a little stupid head off.
But you
Takes
still
me
want
and
to
moves.
win, so it'll make no difference. That's such a
Oh my god. No,
But
they
again,
gotta leave
it's
it there
Watto's
because
cool, man.
a rule's a rule on Tatooine, even though slavery is illegal everywhere else.
Another thing with the gamble of stuff where it was like, all right, if we win, we get this engine that the ship needs, or else it's useless. If you guys win, you get this useless ship. Where it's like, why would he make that trade?
Well, because the
Yeah,
ship's
the
worth a
ship's
lot of
way
money. You
more
just put the engine
Was
in.
it?
He
Sell
has
it.
the engine.
No,
in the ship.
You
There
can
was
sell
this-
it for parts and shit.
But earlier he was like, oh, it might be more useful to buy a new ship.
No, but that's
this
it.
engine's so
no,
expensive.
that's him hiking up the price.
Yeah, he was just...
That's him being like,
he had
might as well
that
buy a
ship,
new
he-
ship because this thing's gonna be so expensive. You know, like,
The racers approach the pods as a two-headed monster announces their names. Everyone's. It turns out Anakin's never finished a race
is that Hank
before.
Azaria, by the way?
I don't know.
I believe it's Hank Azaria doing the.
Greg Prost and the other guy, Scott Capitolo.
Oh shit!
Remember
Really?
they did it in full makeup for no reason at all.
That's right.
Fuck. It sounds exactly like Hank Azaria doing an announcer. Well, just a bit outside. Like it sounds like that sort of baseball voice.
Everyone doubts that Anakin can finish this race, but he's got 20,000 metachlorians that say otherwise. The race. Let's see. Something shits on Jar Jar, and Shmi asks Anakin to be safe. Before the race starts, Sebulba sabotages Anakin's pod racer and then talks mad shit to him. We see Jabba the Hutt and his big ass
What
friend
does he say
behind
when
him.
he breaks it?
He's like, hey, I'm gonna win now. This is why you
Oh,
never finished me.
oopsie or something like that. It's stupid.
And somehow we see the Jabbas, and somehow they look worse than they did
Yeah.
20 years prior.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
The CG is terrible.
The race starts, and it is loud. And Padme gives Qui-Gon shit for choosing this course of action, claiming that the Queen would disapprove. Why she keeps this charade up this long is beyond me. Jabba spit farts at a gong, and the race starts, but Anakin stalls out. Warwick Davis is there? You
Yeah.
see him?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just a little cameo
Here's
from
my
him.
thing. Honestly, I love this scene. I always have loved this scene, and I still do love this scene. I don't care about sports at all.
Yeah.
Sports in movies, I fucking love when done right. And I would argue this is an example of that. There's great world building. It doesn't last too long. I like the 3 laps. Each lap adds some element that's interesting. We get a lot of fun fan service cameos of the Jawas, of the Tusken Raiders, doing cool stuff, the Tusken Raiders at least, sniping and stuff,
I
right?
feel like that should not be allowed.
I feel like every
Like
turn.
people are making bets on this shit. I mean, you've
Well,
got
that-
Tusken Raiders that could be paid off to shoot certain people.
Well, that's
the
how
point.
like fucking grimy
Everything's corrupt.
Tatooine is.
Yeah,
you know?
if
Where,
I-
like their official.
I believe in that. I
racetrack is
like that.
still
The
being-
scene of all the ships, I love how different they all look.
Yeah,
I love how
yeah.
different all the aliens are. And I love them walking out with the flags.
Yeah.
It just builds so much shit. Where I'm
This
like,
is an event.
This is an event.
Yeah.
This is really freaking cool.
This time
them all
around.
taking bets on the stuff, all of that. I love it. I love the different like set pieces they have of him jumping up off
So
the,
cool.
the ramp and all that shit.
But, and
we
then-
see that random chick that's like,
Or
just
a thing.
what's her name?
Or a sing.
With the red hair. She's like pure
She-
white with the
she-
red
yeah,
like,
she's like another,
mohawk ponytail thing.
Does she have a giant staff or is it a gun?
I think it was a
gun.
sniper.
All
And
of
it's
the
fucking cool.
all of the sound effects, all of the sound design in this whole scene, I think, are just so perfect. And that whole sequence where he does fly up the ramp, he's going off the service ramp, and it's like silence.
He finally
It's
became
so
a pilot
badass.
for 5 seconds.
It's
'cause
so
he-
cool.
you know,
I also appreciate the fact that they all have like fucking iPads that they're looking at this race where it's like
yeah.
it's not like them just standing around being like, I hope they
It's
come
like
around
Tokyo
soon.
Drift where they're all watching on their
their
phones
phones.
and shit.
Yeah.
I will say this time around, and I know I don't know if it's because it's the special edition where it's like the longer version of the pod race. It felt really long.
There
to
are
me.
added scenes.
Yeah.
They
It-
definitely added scenes when they made the special edition because there are different character cut twos where they
Yeah,
cut to
you
like
see, like, more
a certain
characters getting
character,
knocked out. Yeah.
whatever the fuck.
But even like taking those out, it just felt slower to me. I don't know why, but like you're saying, like every time I watch it, I'm into it. But I don't know, for some reason, it wasn't like as hype as I usually get for this scene.
it's eye candy. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, there's 2 reasons why. The scene's fine. There's 2 reasons why I've never been that hyped in the scene, or two examples in the scene of why I think this doesn't work for me.
Reminds you of
One-
Fast Five.
Uh,
I'm kidding.
oh, well, that's probably fair. That's a callback. No, one is okay. So we see that he sabotages this part, right? And the thing can't start without this part. And then we see R2-D2 realizing that, and he runs over real quick. And because he's a smart droid and part of the team, he fixes a part, and then Anakin goes, right? No, that didn't happen. We didn't see that because that didn't fucking happen. All he does is hit some buttons, and then
it
his
goes.
thing goes off. And then we get an announcer that's like, oh, he's never going to catch up to them. They're a lap ahead of him because they literally lap him. And he just catches up. How? Because his ship
Did
is
they
fast.
lap him?
They never lapped him. No, but
No,
he
no,
built
they
the
don't lap
fastest
him,
pod
no.
racer.
Somebody laps him. Somebody goes by him. At some point. If they don't lap
No,
him,
they
he's
go by
really-
the other guy that didn't start.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
what it was?
yeah,
Okay.
Quadranero with his quadruplings or whatever.
I always like his name was Quadranero and
Yeah.
he had the
Dude,
quad.
the pod racers are cool, man.
But
I
Pod,
don't
pod
know.
racers are
No,
cool,
but
but,
I agree
nothing
with
he
you.
does in this scene
Yeah.
is like helps further his character
I mean,
development.
but
along.
that's the
he just
problem of
punches
the
buttons
movie.
overall, and
I'm
it
not-
sucks. Like there's a perfect example of a moment where his engine becomes untethered, right? And here's how I would have written this scene if I
Yep.
were a fucking.
I see where you're
I
going
would
with
have had
this.
Qui-Gon Jinn be like, Anakin, steady your mind, because he can't reach the thing,
Yeah.
right? Steady your mind and use the Force.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he
that's
would have
so
reached
cool.
out, and he literally at a point reached
Dude,
out,
no,
grab
literally.
it, and connect it with the
With this-
fucking Force.
God
What
damn,
does
man.
he use?
There's a scene
selfie
where
stick.
it looks like he's doing that, and then
Yeah.
when you see it wide, you're like, oh, he has a selfie
Here's a
stick.
selfie stick.
That magnet stick is cool.
How cool would it have been if that's when his Jedi training started?
Yeah.
And when he gets to the council, he's like, well, I already started training him, dude. Sorry.
Sorry.
But I don't know. I kind of enjoy those quick character thinking moments where we see.
But it's not. It's nonsensical.
Sure.
We don't know what he's doing. He's just pressing more buttons. It doesn't.
yeah,
it's
but
like
it's problem solving to me. I think it's like cool. I think it shows like a young kid who's like figuring this shit out and noticing like, oh, this thing is fucked up. How am I like again?
But how did he solve the problem?
You're right. It makes no sense.
It makes
but
no sense.
I think it's cool to see a kid
the
like
one
you know
light
overcome these
green
issues.
went halfway to the other one, and then they both turned
You're right.
on.
I'm so stupid.
No,
Sound
but
effects are cool.
Rewatching this as an adult, and like anytime we do these, like I try to sit down and give my full attention to these movies. It gave me I understand, but I'm saying it gave me a lot of anxiety because like I've been in that situation where it's like, oh my God, there's a bunch of like something's going wrong, and in the moment you have to fix it quickly.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, that's well acted. This moment is really.
Imagine
Yeah.
if it's the most dire part of this race and he's about to lose, and all the fate of the people that are on this planet, which is basically nothing because they could just figure out another solution, doesn't matter. And the music silences for a second, and you hear that theme, and he's like, Anakin, use the Force.
That'd be so cool.
And it just gets super quiet for a second, and he looks at the thing and realizes he can reach out to it with his fucking mind.
I mean, I like that
would
they're
have
not
been
even
so
saying use the
cool.
Force. Just steady your mind.
Steady your mind,
Yeah,
Anakin.
let
You
him
can do this.
figure it out.
Oh God, it would have been so good, and instead it's just
That's badass.
It's a good sound.
The sound effects
That's
are great.
a good sound.
And
Yeah.
that's what's so sad
Yeah.
about this whole thing is this actually is a fun scene. It's just there needed to be stakes. I needed to be emotionally
And
connected to
the
this
same
character
thing
and
with
see him
the-
overcome adversity.
The entire movie has the same problem where any good scene has the same issue of it should be much better based on writing and reason and idea. Duel of the Fates and pod racing to me are exactly equal, where they're so cool, but they're not good. They're just not.
It's so cool when his one engine is out and it's smoking and Sebulba, but Sebulba's gaining on him
behind
and he's
him,
right
yeah.
behind him. Just like that. I
sound
love
effect's
that,
great.
dude. It's so
No,
bad.
again, you're talking
Coffee.
Skywalker sound. You're talking like the
Yeah.
best in the industry
It's
at making these
like
things.
this whole scene is just like a masterclass. I think you show this scene to like college students trying to learn about this and like just pay attention to all the vehicles and all the different like
Sound
how every
design.
engine is like.
Yeah.
Oh, you could tell like these are from different. Like a Ford doesn't sound like a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like I love that shit, dude.
the
So,
audience, the arena was sound from 49ers games.
That's
Oh,
cool.
Cool.
Uh,
Real quick, someone in the chat was like, "Oh, again, at this point, he wouldn't know what the Force was," and it's like, wouldn't that be an
That's
awesome
what makes
way
it cooler.
for
To
him
tell
to
him what it
discover
was?
it?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been
Yes,
so
it
cool.
would have been
That's
great.
really awesome. I
It would
never
have been so fucking great, just like how Ben did it in fucking A New Hope, where he's like, "Turn off that computer, bro. Like, use the Force." Oh, okay, yeah, cool. And everyone's like, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" Everyone back at the thing's like, "What's he doing?" He's like, and we get that. He just closes his eyes, and the Force comes to him. Giant Woody.
This is a quick
Fucking
aside.
blow up the thing, dude.
When they released the special edition, they replaced Puppet Yoda with CGI Yoda, which is why his CGI looks like the best out of everybody.
So much better.
They should have done that to Jar Jar and the Hutts.
They really should have.
Because like
Should've done
the-
it to a lot.
with-
A
We should just
lot.
cut out Jar Jar as much as humanly possible. But-
sure, yeah, but at
just
least make
cut
him
that
good to look
Metachlorian
at.
line, you know?
cut
That's
it-
all.
They
Like,
didn't need it,
they
'cause by the
cut
way,
that.
never comes back.
Yeah.
Because wow, we did not have a good reaction to that as a populace. Let's see. He ties up with Sebulba and then hits more buttons and then races past him and wins the race. Yay! Back in the let's see. The crowd goes nuts. Back in the hangar, Shmi tells Annie he's brought hope to those who have none. Well, I guess Watto tries to back out of the deal, but Qui-Gon threatens to take him to the Hutts. Qui-Gon takes the parts of the ship, and they head back up to Anakin. They sold the pod for money. Oh, and Anakin has been freed. No big deal. We're taking him with us to be a Jedi, and your mom's staying here to rot. I'd have been like, you can take my boy with you, person I just met yesterday, but you got to break my ass out, too. Nope. No
Or
such thing.
just come back
just-
in like 2 weeks.
Or that, or just, I'll just go with you. I'll just go with you.
The bomb, Nick.
But they've got a whole ship of cool stuff that can figure it out, right? Or he's or like this. How about this? It's right there.
Again, they don't,
Jedi Force.
they don't
That's
do
right.
it well, but I think this is another moment of like the Jedi don't really care. And also like their whole thing about like letting go of like possessions
Feelings and all that
and
stuff.
feeling and all that stuff. Like they don't. I think that's why they decided to do that. But again,
Yeah,
I don't think
it
it's
is.
shown well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Shmi has a moment where she tells Anakin he can't stop change. He's like, I can't go, and she's like, you can't stop change. And then she hugs him, and then Anakin runs off in delight, and because this place fucking sucks. And guess what? Now I have a laser sword. How wizard! Thought that one might get you, Tim.
It did.
Yeah, wizard.
It did. It made me angry, Nick.
They head back to the ship, and Anakin gives his mom one last hug before she goes. I can't do it, Mom. I just can't do it. Will I ever see you again? Yeah, I mean, you're free now, so maybe get a job at Starbucks and come back and buy my ass out of this fucking hellhole. Anakin promises to free his mom one day. Shmi tells him to be brave and don't look back, but also come back and free my ass real soon. Like, real soon. But don't look back. But also, definitely come back and free me.
Yeah,
like,
'cause
as
I'm
soon as
scared.
you can.
Like-
priority one, Jedi training. Close priority two, fucking free my ass.
I want cool food.
Because the shit that Watto makes me do when no one's looking. Darth Maul's droids get back to him and they report the position of the Queen's ship, and Maul hops on his dope-ass motherfucking Harley
Yeah, he does.
and
So
heads toward
cool.
them.
Remember
when
the
he get-
Lego for this?
I was just about to
so
say,
cool.
the Lego
I
set for
love
this
that
was
Lego set.
fucking
So cool.
awesome.
And then we get the first coolest scene ever fucking put on film. He doesn't even stop, bro. No, he doesn't even stop. The bike keeps going. He flips off the fucking thing as he lights his lightsaber up, and Qui-Gon's like, "What the fuck?" And just they get into it. They're into it.
The way this scene like comes in, where it's like, come on, we gotta hurry up, and like Anakin's like, my feet
It's
hurt,
scary.
and it's like, hurry the fuck up. It's so cool.
It's
But,
really
like,
scary.
It's really confusing when that establishing shot and they're already running, because they don't show that they've already been chased by Maul. It's just like, oh, they're just
feel it in the
jogging
Force,
to the
bro.
shit.
The scene starts and ends really,
Really
poorly,
weird,
and
yeah.
the middle of it's dope.
Yeah, like if I were to write this scene, I'd be like, we're back at the ship, and then someone notices something's coming. And Qui-Gon, of course, being the Master Jedi, realizes before everyone else, because
would've
he's got
been-
the Force, that it's danger. Get the fuck on the ship,
Yeah.
but it's too late because this thing's coming fast.
There's a
would've
man in a black hooded. He's a black hooded figure, and he's on a really cool bike. It should be a nice
Red
guy.
face, spiky head.
Open up our door. Let's see what he's
And
got
to
to
be
say.
Looks like the literal
they
devil.
hadn't seen any Sith people for like, isn't it like hundreds
while.
of years?
Yeah, but you feel like they'd feel him coming, right? They'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, something's bad. And what I do like about this, what I like about the credit of what they set up here, was that Darth Maul is better than Qui-Gon.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Qui-Gon's like gassed after this fight.
Yep.
He's like, I don't know what the fuck
Well,
just
he hasn't had
happened.
to fight in forever, dude.
Yeah.
He hasn't like had
They have
actual
filmed ass
competition.
lives,
But you think
You're
you're
like
like,
a cop in Daly City.
it's just, it was very cool that they set up. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
That's
We're gonna let that one go before I get pulled over later. Let's see. They narrowly
Honestly,
escaped.
I'm just gonna say this here: Qui-Gon should have died here. Just saying.
That could have
Just
worked.
saying.
They narrowly escape
No.
when Qui-Gon introduces Anakin to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and what a great moment. Back on Naboo, the governor reminds the viceroy that they're a democracy, which makes sense since the Queen ultimately is in charge of everything. They've also been looking underwater for the city, which is really hard to find unless you have a breathalyzer or a breath thing. Back on the ship, Padme gets a message from the governor that lots of people are dying and the death toll is catastrophic. You got to get back here. She gives Anakin a blanket because he's cold, and she tells him that the queen is worried. She must convince the Senate to intervene. Why wouldn't they? Everything the Trade Federation has done is illegal. Send 300 fucking Jedis to that place, and literally three of them, could kill all the droids, while the other 227 took a fucking break and got Starbucks. But no, we don't have that many Jedis. We can't do that.
Throw the lightsaber like a boomerang and just have it.
Like, call up the Jedi Council, but like, just go to Naboo. Take care of this. You have a bunch of Jedis. We're gonna see them later,
To
and
be
all
fair-
die in a ring.
To be fair, that is what they did. They called up the Jedi Council and were like, send a couple Jedis to go fix the situation.
Yeah, it's
and
like-
it didn't go well.
It's like Captain Marvel, you know. There's a lot of whatever's happening here is happening everywhere, man.
Fair. Anakin makes a puka shell necklace for Padme, so she'll remember him. And the
Damn it,
scene
Nick.
is just sexy as hell. Just kidding. It's weird as fuck. It's very weird. It's
That was
very,
real funny,
very
Nick.
weird.
That was real funny.
I wrote, is she his new mother or future lover? Only time will tell. They arrive on Coruscant, and the entire planet is one big city. It's so fucking cool.
It's so fucking cool. And like, this is a weird thing where it's like, I give Coruscant the CG pass, where I'm like, that's the look of this city. And I'm like, cool. I'm okay with that. And I feel
The
like
concept is cool enough.
The
right?
concept's awesome.
the concept's cool enough, but also the look. I'm like, I'm all right with
Yeah.
it looking like that because
Yeah.
it's different and foreign.
Because it's the
and-
capital city of the galaxy, pretty much, right? The Galactic Republic, and it's cool that it's not just the city; it's a whole planet. I love it, and actually, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those scenes later. I think in Attack of the Clones, where it's like nighttime, we go to
Yeah.
the bar and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are some of my
really
favorite
like-
scenes in
cool.
the
I just-
prequels.
it's
I wish
Like,
we had more moments of Anakin like more freaking out at
Anything, really.
at these places that aren't Tatooine, because this is all he's seen in his
yeah,
life.
it's very different than just sand.
What movie is it where the woman's in a spaceship and she sees green and she's like, "What is
That's
that?"
right. That's episode
that's
7,
right.
and
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah.
"I didn't know there was so much green in the
I
universe."
wish
That's
we
a
had some
small
of that for
moment,
him to
yeah.
be flying a course. I'm like, what the fuck is this,
Yeah.
dude? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
When they arrive on Coruscant, the Chancellor Valorium and Palpatine are there to meet them as they land, which is a scene that does not look good. They tell the Queen they've called for an emergency Senate meeting, and there's a question of procedure, but Palpatine is confident they can overcome it. What does that mean? I don't know. It's just more filler for why this is really hard and why people are stupid.
We're trying to get to the next scene, dude.
Yeah. Let's just keep going. Up in Palpatine's pimp pad, everything is wrapped in red leather, and it is deep looking. Palpatine tells Amidala that their best choice is to push for an election of a stronger Supreme Chancellor, and should she call for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorium, the only other chance is to appeal to the courts, but that's going to take forever. Guess we'll have
Dude,
to
and
accept.
here's the thing: all of this dialogue, all I hear is when where I'm like, what the fuck's happening? I hate this so much, and like you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No.
It's like this is totally just like, shit, we got to get him in power somehow. How do we do that? Well,
and this is the frustrating thing because again, this idea, this concept is cool. Of the emperor from the original trilogy was not some outside force that came in and like they had a war and he took over. It was
came
like,
from the inside.
He came from
He
the
made it all happen.
and that's how you take that kind of power like over. And it's such a cool concept.
Cool concept.
They just don't know how to
Execute it.
Execute it.
Execute it.
Order.
The only other chance we have is to appeal to the courts, which will take forever. And she says we can't do that. We'll have to accept Federation. He says we'll have to accept Federation control for the time being. And she says that is something I cannot do. Then we get the best scene later that night as the sun sets and the electric capital comes to life. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi make their way up the giant staircase to the Jedi Temple to seek the knowledge of the Jedi Council. Obi-Wan is nervous. As an apprentice, he's never stepped foot in the council room before. That kind of honor is reserved only for the most esteemed and distinguished Jedi warriors. Worry not, my young apprentice. The Force will guide you, says Qui-Gon Jinn with a smirk, taking minor delight in his young friend's discomfort. Cool. As the massive doors to the temple open, we see a sight few have ever laid eyes on. A massively dimly lit palace where the balance of the universe is carefully and quietly decided. They enter the council as the council is already in session. Fellow Jedi Knight Mace Windu motions to Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan to be quiet and take a seat as we hear the voice first of Jedi Master Yoda ring out. No, none of that shit happened. They're just in the fucking room.
I was about to say, I was like, whoa, Nick. Like,
Right?
you're making this way cooler than it actually
none of that
was.
happened. It just cuts, and we're in the fucking room with Yoda and Mace Windu, who we've never met before.
Who are these people?
Who are these people? No. We're just we're
Who
like,
are you?
and they're not even in a room. They're like in that weird offshoot third floor of a hotel where like all the meeting rooms happen. You know what I mean?
It would have been cool if it
That
was
was
just
really
like,
cool,
it
Nick.
would have been cool if it was the room, yeah. And then they like, and then you just hear like,
Like imagine if, like,
and
okay,
they turn
so
around like, oh my god, and then the audience like, "Ooh."
here's what I wish they'd have done. Like that moment where C-3PO and R2 go to Jabba's and we have this larger than life door. This and it's very much thematically like, oh my god, this thing we're about to do is like way bigger than us. The Jedi Council should have been way bigger than any one person, but they're in a fucking like a lounge at Starbucks.
They're in the lobby of a La Quinta.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so sad because I'm like, oh, they're gonna. They missed a beautiful moment, and Yoda's just there because they just assume all the audience knows Yoda, except for all those kids that are watching this for the first time. And Yoda's not special at all. He's just this thing.
I knew.
But I mean, no, that's
was.
not like I feel like all the kids that were watching this had already seen the.
But pay him the
original
reverence.
series.
That he's the head
I
of
agree
the
with
Jedi
that.
Council. He is Jedi Master Yoda. Not a knight. He's a fucking master.
Can
at
you
this thing.
imagine the people that to this day argue you should start with episode 1?
Jesus Christ.
No.
I
God,
hate
no.
Anyway, hey man, what's the point of this scene? Well, we're gonna look into the whole Darth Maul situation. Also, Qui-Gon wants to train Anakin because he's got this metachlorian count that's super big, and they're like, cool. Well, we're not gonna decide any of this right now. You just bring him before us. What was the point of this scene? I wonder. I don't know. We get a dumb scene where Anakin tries to say bye to Padme, but she's really the queen, or not. Who the fuck knows? The senator hearing begins, and Palpatine introduces Queen Amidala, recently elected leader of the Naboo. I don't know how she's elected, but whatever. Lots of talking happens, and the Senate wants to form a committee to investigate, but Amidala wants action now. She moves for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorian's leadership, and instead of making an impoverished or like an impassioned speech as to why he should remain Chancellor, he just sits down. That's it. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon take a nice evening stroll for some exposition, which is completely useless. We won't even get into it. Up at the council, Anakin is finally brought there, and they're quizzing him, and they're doing the card scene from Ghostbusters. Only he gets it right this time instead of the other kid who freaks out.
cup?
A starship. Another starship. A cup. Oh.
They should make a Star Wars podcast called like a cup of ship.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
It'd be about as useless as this scene.
Yeah.
Anakin is afraid to lose his mother, which has everything to do with everything. Fear? He's like, what does that have to do with anything? Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to overeating. Overeating leads to choosing marching band instead of football. Marching band leads to Kevin making fun of you. I sense much fear in you, he
of
says. Then
self-loathing here.
Anakin, I'm just filling in my details
Yeah.
because I want this
that's
to
what
be
you got
interesting.
from it.
Then Anakin pleads to the council of all. He says, I sense much fear with you. And then Anakin pleads to the
I
council.
don't know how.
All of my life I've known fear. It is what defined my people, but for some reason, since being born into slavery, I see another way. This is the first time I've ever seen another way. Train me in the ways of the Force, and I will free my people and bring peace to No, none of this happened either. He just says, sorry. He just goes, I don't know.
Really?
And then the scene ends. It just fucking ends.
It does just end.
It does
just
just fucking end.
Another great moment where this kid is brought before fucking Jedi Master Yoda and goes, I don't know. And they go, I don't know either. And it ends.
And no resolution. But
No
really,
resolution.
really quick, I do love the fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, suffering leads to the dark side. Just the way he delivers it, it is like a very like, oh fuck, this is like Yoda trying to like tell this kid like, hey, you are very close to skating this line here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's one of the most memorable things I remember as a
Yeah.
kid. Like that's one of the lines that I have.
But we already had a scene.
constantly requoted.
This is the problem. Is like, remember when we were talking about how movies like have like zero fat on them? What was the last? Oh, we were talking about Terminator 2,
T2.
which hasn't happened yet right now in the span of us filming
No.
this,
Yeah,
right?
no.
I don't know how any of that works. Future past spoilers. T2 is every scene has a point and is lean and it
So
needs to be
okay.
in there. And if it's not in there, they cut it out. We just had another scene where they doubted it. There's 5 scenes in a row where they're like, we don't know if we should train Anakin or not, and Anakin does nothing to convince them otherwise.
It's literally just
Zerally nothing. And it's like it's so
Qui-Gon,
sad.
like maybe they're right. You know, take me home. I miss my mom.
Then we get this scene next. Amidala has a quiet moment with Jar Jar that's interrupted by Captain Panaka and Palpatine, who come in and say, "Guess what? I've been nominated Supreme Chancellor off camera." This pivotal moment where he gets to take control of the Senate through all of his misdeeds and all of his backdoor dealings and all backroom dealings and all that shit. He finally gets what he wants, which is control of this thing, and we don't see it.
This Senate that we saw with all of these fucking
This-
little things
this
where people
hub of
are,
power for the galaxy.
And we see this guy sit down instead of a scene that's just like, well, then what do you propose we do? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Squabble for a little bit and then somehow give some story that makes sense for why he should be the guy.
Or I'm just gonna throw this out there, right? He is a fucking Sith Lord. Show him mesmerizing the audience. Show him conning his way with his power into
Yeah.
this. Because that's what he's really doing here, but not really. He's really just using politics where he should be using the Force. I digress.
You didn't like the thing where they like threw out the Alderaan guy that will be the future, step.
Well, it was fun.
And you didn't like the moment where Jar Jar's like, we never run away from a fight, which foreshadows, their thing later. It was really cool. Right?
And then, after he's been nominated for Supreme Counselor, Queen Amidala deciding that the Republic no longer functions, even though it just functioned perfectly for her because her senator is now the leader of this whole thing. She decides,
It's like, same team, man.
but like, she's like, this place is broken. He's like, is it? I mean, no, we just got what we wanted. She's like, I'm heading back to Naboo. And he's like, that's a terrible idea. They're going to kill you there. She's like, my people are dying. What are you going to do when you get there? We'll figure it out. I got like a plane ride. It's cool. It's like when you got to do homework. That's it. But it's Saturday night. That's what Sunday nights are for. That night, the Jedi Council decide not to train Anakin because he's too old and his future is dark and uncertain. But Qui-Gon puts his foot down, saying, I'm going to train him no matter what. And Yoda says he already has a Padawan. And Qui-Gon goes, nah, Obi-Wan's, he's good, man. He's actually pretty good. He cuts him loose pretty fast. He's ready for the trials.
He's been good. I've just been having him do like the bullshit chores
Yeah.
I haven't wanted to do.
And then he says a very
Horrible scene, dude.
Then he says a really
It's
cool line.
dumb.
He goes, he's ready for the trials. And I go, oh, cool.
wow.
We're going to see those
Yeah,
trials.
that'd be really cool.
We're going to see Obi-Wan Kenobi go from Padawan apprentice to Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, he's good. He's already Knight.
Wouldn't it
don't
have
need
been
it.
awesome if at that moment, just took off the little ponytail?
No,
Just
because we would have been
prove
like,
to
why did he
everyone?
just cut his... Oh, I mean, I guess we would have
Yeah.
figured
Oh,
it
I
out.
thought you were
I
gonna Jedi.
Indicative.
I thought you were gonna lightsaber him to the brain as
No,
well.
that would make any sense.
I am
Mace
ready for the
Windu, who we don't
trials.
really know why he's here or what he does, orders Qui-Gon to go to Naboo with the Queen to uncover the dark Sith character that attacked them. Now, he orders 2 people back to a war zone where they were horribly ineffective there to begin with and sends no one else with him. How many Jedis we got right now down in the lounge, the other lounge? Not this lounge, the 4th lounge.
What's Kiadi Mundi up to?
What are all these people up to? Put them in 14 ships and let's go have them fuck up the capital of Naboo real quick. and
Plo
just
Koon, get
show
your
'em
goddamn
who's
orange
boss.
lightsaber.
Get that
Let's
orange
go.
saber out
Kit
there, man.
Fisto was
That's
always
cool.
my favorite. Like, he looks so cool. And we see him hold a lightsaber for 10 seconds and he's dead.
How does that one fucker with the 8-foot long neck fight?
Not well.
Not easily.
He's just like a giraffe. He starts
just always
swinging
in
it
the-
around.
He's just in the background, like doing that. He reminds me of Dana Carvey, the turtle, in
Yeah.
in that fucking
Master of
It's
Disguise.
a terrible movie.
Before leaving for Naboo, Anakin has a moment with Qui-Gon where he pulls him aside and asks him about the metachlorians, so Qui-Gon can explain what the fuck a metachlorian is, and I stop listening. I'm not even going to fucking say the rest of the scene.
Don't.
Darth Sidious tells the Viceroy he's sending his apprentice Darth Maul to help secure the planet and kill the Jedi and make sure all restaurants serve Pepsi instead of Coke. They land, and the Queen tells Jar Jar to enlist the help of the Gungans to help fight. So they go there with Queen Amidala, but it's not the Queen because Padme's the Queen. Ha ha! Finally, I'm the Queen.
Finally.
And I need to tell you that you need to help us. And everyone else is like, yeah, that makes sense. And then Amidala throws herself at the mercy of the Gungan leader, and he goes, oh, we stopped being friends. Cool, we figured it out. Yippee! Oh, my God. Fuck me with the cheese grater. Everyone gets set up for battle, and Jar Jar gets promoted to general. Why not? Thankfully, the battle is a diversion. The real plan, while all the Gungans die, is that we're going to go to the... And she says it in front of the king.
Yeah, I felt like they said it right in front of him, and he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We'll be fucking cannon fodder.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, we're in.
Yeah, my guys are fine.
and it's like, well,
came
no,
to
I
me-
think we can think of a better plan. And he's like, no. We're in.
We're frogs. We multiply like a lot.
Why does he keep doing that sound?
It's cool. I like it.
It's weird.
The real plan is to enter the palace and
None of
capture
the
the
other ones
Viceroy.
do those noises, you know?
And none of them look like him.
Yeah.
And then she goes,
he looks like an obese one, you know?
It's like his
With a
gavel,
weird
where
hat.
like that's his final say. Like,
I like that he's got his ears tied back like a ponytail.
Everybody has a snout. He doesn't. It's so
he's the king. That's why.
It falls off
He can
when
get
you
in
become
there.
king.
Thankfully,
It's like I'm getting-
the real plan is to enter the palace, capture the Viceroy. Without the Viceroy, they'll be lost and confused. But just in case, let's go up and blow that shit up because they somehow know all the droids are tethered to that ship. They figured it out. Let's see.
Hey man, that was a moon
Why doesn't
providing
anyone
shields.
else go in there, you know?
Man, Natalie
Because it
Portman
seemed
is...
like there was no protection for that. Just no one had thought of like, oh, you can just put a ship in there and shoot everything and it'll
Too
explode.
risky.
Back in the palace, the Viceroy, once again talking to Sidious, asks for permission to send a bunch of droids to kill the Gungan army, and he's all like this, wipe them out. All of them. Which was in the trailer, and it was a cool line, too. But, let's see, start with Jar Jar. Actually, as long as you kill Jar Jar and the Gungan King, we'll call this a big old fat W. That'll just be a win for us. The Gungans throw a shield up and droids attack. The strike team begins their covert plan to sneak into the palace, which consists of them just running head on at all of the fucking troops like idiots. They take the hangar and Anakin hides in a plane cockpit because how else are we going to get his ass up into space? Up in space, the fighters have to take out the Federation ship or something will happen. I can't remember. Down on the battlefield, the droids activate, and it's ouch time. Is one of what the characters say.
Yeah.
It's ouchie time. Ouch time indeed. Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon.
You just described my whole experience.
Oh yeah,
watching
and then
the
General
movie.
Jar Jar tries to throw a bomb and falls down, and then it is outside. Oh, ouchie. Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Amidala and the gang head toward the throne room to get the Viceroy. Qui-Gon tells Anakin to stay in the cockpit where he'll be safe. And then they head
does.
to the main hangar door. Yeah, I know. Then they head to this giant main hangar door. And fuck, I needed this scene.
Oh, it's so
Because
good.
it opens and we get that. It's so cool. So
And then they
fucking
cut
cool.
away.
And then they cut away. Yeah. They cut away. Well, no, before they cut away, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan step up and he goes, we'll handle this. And
Yeah.
they take their robes
Oh,
off.
God.
And then Darth Maul does the thing where he goes, and he takes the thing out and one goes out and then the other one goes
Is
out.
that then?
I think it's
Yeah,
that.
I think it's
Yeah.
something.
Because they start
And
There's not
then-
a cut in between?
No,
No,
and
they
then
don't.
they cut away.
Yeah, then they
Yeah.
cut. And then we catch up to them when they're fighting.
Here's what I would have said. All right. We got this powerful Sith Lord in front of us, right? We haven't seen one of these guys in forever. Let's all attack. Let's all just swing. We'll swing for his head. You 12 soldiers around us, shoot his feet. He can't. There's
You
only.
can't- it's not physically possible.
Yes.
You can't defend 2 points.
Just keep on doing that to his head, and he'll just be like, shoot the feet. Fucking shoot the feet.
Yeah.
Should have been
Yeah.
a dick, dude. His
Yeah.
little Darth Maul
Jesus
dick.
Christ. Like.
I will
and
say
then-
this.
Oh my
Orange.
God.
Darth Maul,
That's cool.
coolest character in this.
It's one big spike, his dick.
Darth Maul, at least in the movies, is the Boba Fett of this trilogy.
And I was
though.
like, and when I was a kid, I was like, God, I hope he makes it to the next 2 movies. Wouldn't it be cool if he killed Qui-Gon in this one, which set Obi-Wan on a path to train harder and truly master the Force, and his own anger, so he can avenge the death of his master and become a Jedi Knight? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
No.
Meanwhile,
Pretty
Instead,
it would.
another long, like, well thought or like easily seen move just flips over, just like all of Obi-Wan's long swings at droids. He just fucking looks like, what is he doing, dude?
Anyway,
Hold on. Future spoilers for this,
Yeah.
if you don't fucking know. These movies don't even follow their own rules. If there's one thing that's memorable from episode 3, it's I have the high ground, which means he's fucked.
Yeah, he's fucked.
Who had the high ground here?
Oh, very high ground.
Oh, who?
He
It
had
was Darth Maul.
Darth Maul
like
had
a
such high
lot.
ground that he took a
Obi-Wan,
moment just to
fuck
fuck
up.
with him. He was like, I like that part where he's like skating his.
He had
But
the
if
high
you
ground,
leave
and he
it-
was the only one to have a weapon.
It's
Yeah.
just, it is fucking insane.
But like when
That-
Obi-Wan
that
jumps
those
up, just like,
start and end this prequel with Obi-Wan, with the same character that says that.
Meanwhile, the Rolly dolls roll in, the Rolly droids roll in and start blasting everything. And they go, oh, fuck, we got to do what we got to do.
Then Anakin shoots
And then
him.
Anakin goes, okay, where's the trigger? And he hits everything but the trigger. For a kid who's a great pilot, he sure as fuck does not know how the cockpit of a ship works. Doesn't matter. Blows some stuff away, accidentally hits the autopilot or whatever, and takes off.
That's a fun feature, right? There's just a button that will take you to the battle.
Yeah.
What droid was with him?
Oh, R2-D2 happened to be there.
Oh, okay.
Somehow.
Okay.
How did they put him in there?
He went in.
He was just in there?
I think he was waiting for a pilot.
Oh, okay.
Got shot or something.
Let's see. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight Darth Maul, and it is fucking everything. I got to give it to this because I think this is the part where Darth Maul does arguably the coolest thing any Force user's ever done, where he's fighting and he points at a fucking thing and then throws the thing at the door and it opens
so
the door.
cool.
And it's so cool because he doesn't even break stride. It's just part of the
Yeah.
choreography. He goes, whoom, bing, and then deflects more. And at that point, I'd be like this, we're not going to win this. Yeah. This guy's really good.
Yeah, fuck
yeah.
yeah.
Real good. Like,
when the chase,
this guy's the Tom Brady of fucking
Yeah, also
of
stop
Sith
chasing him.
Lords.
Let him come to you.
when the pursuit continues, like, and I'm Qui-Gon and I'm behind a wall, and my Padawan, who's like probably my only hope to win this, is
Right.
4 walls behind.
I'll wait for him.
I would have fucking ran backwards.
Yeah.
It's like, we gotta
Fuck,
regroup.
we gotta regroup.
Yeah, give me a second.
This is hard.
It's your turn. It's your turn now. Okay, I'm old. I'm almost 40. Yeah. Let's see.
But in 20 years, I'll be chasing after my daughter.
Yeah, it'll be hot. It'll be hot. Jar Jar kills some droids by falling down. The deflector shield up in space is too strong. Thankfully, Anakin is there. He asks R2 to disengage the autopilot so he can fuck some shit up. After all, Qui-Gon did tell him to stay in the cockpit, so that's what he's going to do. I'll try spinning. Then he spins.
I hate that
That's
line.
a good move.
I hate that line.
But it's cool when it comes back in episode 3, right? At the beginning of the movie.
Oh,
it's
Christ.
real cool.
At the palace, Amidala and Panaka use grappling hooks. Why the fuck they get those? So scale up to the throne
Wait,
room.
what do they call him?
They flip it up. Leave it alone.
It
Yeah.
looks so bad.
Don't they
so
say like
stupid.
get the ascension guns?
Yeah.
And it's just like you just go grappling hook, but all right.
Yeah.
I would have been like, oh,
They're like, we're going to get sued by DC.
I would have gone way past my marker. Shit, how do I get down?
Yours just goes up and over the other side of the
I'll meet you
Also,
down there. I'll find a staircase.
When they get up there, everyone like dramatically moves and they shoot the window and then the window explodes. It's like, why didn't they just like break it?
Yeah, it's-
That seemed like a lot.
All this
And none of
sucks.
this matters because guess what? Duel of Fates is happening downstairs and it's fucking awesome. Obi-Wan gets kicked off of a platform and has to catch up to Qui-Gon and Maul, who are now trapped in a force wall room thing that they gotta really design these rooms a little bit. I'd be like, guys, this is unsafe because not only is this laser walls, but at least just a giant hole. Just a giant hole.
Why is there
room.
always giant holes?
There's always holes, man.
Why
like,
are there
what-
laser walls?
Yeah, like what's the
What the fuck is the purpose?
what's the point?
Someone was designing this building and we're like, all right, fuck. We need to vent this laser energy.
Yeah.
Maybe let's do it into this hallway. Also, it'll slow down the traffic into this room that fufucking just has a giant hole.
know what it reminds
That
me
way,
of?
no one runs into this room.
You know
It's
what it
actually a
reminds me of?
concert venue. They want to prevent people from running to the stage. Yeah.
It reminds me of like a hotel where you have to buzz your key in the elevator to get up to the rooms. And you're always drunk and you go, I can't.
God,
figure, I
that
can't
happened to
make
me
this
so
work.
many.
I can't make this.
Oh my
work.
god, when we were in Toronto, Nick, I got in the
you got on the
elevator
wrong
like
elevator
at
first.
2 a.m. and I fucking go to the thing and I'm like, oh, I haven't buzzed a thing yet. Boop, too late. I'm already going up to somebody else's
Great.
floor.
God.
In my head canon, I like to think it was someone like Tim Gettys who designed that and was just like, "Yo, fucking
Fucking
lasers
love
are
red,
cool."
dude.
And his favorite color is red.
Let's be real. Yeah. There's some alternate Tim Gettys out there. No, real talk though. Doesn't make sense. Fucking cool as hell.
Oh, dope as
But
fuck.
again, here's the problem though. Like Return of the Jedi, 3 planes of action, Endor, the Emperor fight, and then the space fight, right? All 3 of those things. For all the shit we'll give the Ewoks and all of that, at least there was interesting things
but they also had
happening.
purpose.
And Han was there.
Yeah.
And Leia was there. Like, we're getting some cool moments.
And also, Han tapped a soldier on the back.
Yeah.
And
But we're
was
also,
like, what?
but in Return
As
of the
he was
Jedi, we
running
also
by.
have all
Terrible.
the tension that's being built in the throne room, which is like, yes, it is exposition, but it's like, but it gets so fucking tense, and it culminates with them fighting and with him actually giving into his fear.
And
But also,
everything
all
works.
those things build where it's like they're working
they're
with each
intricately
other.
connected.
Whereas
Yeah.
here, we get 4 things. We get Amidala and her little group running around the palace. We get Anakin in fucking space. We have the Duel of the Fates, and then we have Jar Jar falling with horrible CG in an open green field.
Yeah.
That's not interesting to look at.
Nothing happens.
All.
It's not like he takes out a giant like squadron.
he takes
out
out
one tank,
and
a couple of dudes.
It's the
terrible.
fucking Windows 98 screensaver
Yes.
Yeah.
that they're fighting on.
When we peek over, I was
but
like, oh,
the
shit.
sound effect is so cool when they hit
And
the
the
shields.
shields are cool.
Then they all get surrounded, and it looks pretty dire for them. Up in space, Anakin accidentally flies into a Federation trade ship, and his ship stalls, and he can't figure out how to get it back on. Duel of Fates time. The walls let loose. We do have that great scene though, where like the walls capture them, and like Qui-Gon just sits and starts meditating.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's
While
really good.
fucking Maul, like a goddamn caged lion, is pacing back and forth, like I'm gonna kill you.
And
he's
Obi-Wan
like, shit,
tripping balls.
because he knows they're gonna die.
Yeah.
because he's now seen his master, who is better than him, get schooled by this dude. This dude took on both of them. Was like, oh, I'm not even sweating.
Dude, not
Not
one.
even sweating my makeup
but
off.
2 of the 4 planes of action, all we're getting are characters that are just fumbling and accidentally doing things.
I know, it's so stupid. Let's see.
Real quick, the line where his like ship goes down inside that other
Yeah.
spaceship, there is a exposition line of him being like, "It's overheated. Let's wait till it cools down." Why would all of a ship overheat and then it just shut down? That seems like a bad design, right?
Also, we've never seen a ship overheat.
Also, when he when he falls into there and it's overheated, the droids start walking over, and then they don't make
don't
it
do
all
anything.
the way
They all
over
just fucking
until
stand-
it magically starts again. And
Yep.
it's like, that was 10 minutes. It took you 10 minutes to walk
Also,
the pace of a room.
This
What the
ship was
fuck?
out in space. Space is fucking cold. Like, really, like negative 200 degrees Celsius cold.
Wow, science with Kev.
Yeah.
not only that,
So
but it made it out of the
stupid.
atmosphere, which would have heated it up. So it's like,
Yeah.
how does this thing overheat? Doesn't
I
matter.
do love the really cool effect though when Anakin's ship does come back on. You see the shield like kind of like form around it. I've always loved the idea of like invisible
But
shields
it's one of those
that
things where
reflect
like
bullets and
well,
stuff.
and to Barrett's point, like the shield should have stayed, and they should have been hammering that thing with laser blasts.
Yeah.
And we should have seen the shield go down until Anakin was like, "Fuck, I gotta now use the." Oh, hey, remember that thing that Qui-Gon told me about when I was on the pod racer? I'm gonna try that thing again and see if I can't fix the part or do whatever the fuck I need to do or open the door that I need to get out of or whatever.
Or,
with the
maybe
Force.
take down all the droids in the room.
Right,
Just
something.
even knowing where
Like
to
Mary
fucking shoot,
Poppins
like,
style,
oh, should I
fly
shoot
out.
overheat?
Yeah.
Boom. Oh
Let the
shit,
Force
that
guide
started
me.
a catastrophic
But
explosion.
no, what happens? The ship just comes back online and he blasts something that he doesn't even know what he's shooting.
Something we don't even know.
We don't know.
Like that's
it's
do we
never
know?
set up. No.
Do we know what he shoots?
Uh,
that
it's
causes
not-
it?
it's the
they
shield array.
cut over to the other the
It's like slight context clues of it.
yeah,
looks
like the
power
energy
source
dropped
or
here.
But it's bullshit. The context clues are, oh, they saw A New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he shoots that. That's later. Meanwhile, the doors open and Qui-Gon and Maul just go at each other, but Obi-Wan is once again stopped. They start fighting around a big ass hole. And Qui-Gon fights valiantly, but he's just no match for Maul. who
Remember when they
stabs him through the
ran
stomach.
really, really fast at the beginning of this movie? Why the fuck would Obi-Wan not run really fast?
I don't know.
Because
When
he didn't know when the
knows-
lasers were gonna go off.
He's
so
never
there's a
played
chance
Mario
that-
because he can't time shit.
His cooldown wasn't up yet.
Yeah.
There was still a long time to use it.
Don't set up something like that.
He gets stabbed, and then Obi-Wan's like, no! And then he gives into his hate, and fear leads to drugs, and drugs lead to a VH1 behind the music. In the throne room, Padme is caught and surrounded by the Viceroy. Thankfully, her decoy, still dressed as a queen, catches up to them, and everyone's like, oh, that's the real queen, let's go get her. And then Padme reaches into her throne, where she keeps a gun, and goes, I've got you.
2 guns.
Here's one for me.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
For
One-
you.
that's-
Dude,
that's
Little
the
gun,
thing.
little gun under the pillow, man.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so. We got you.
But also that
and now the war
situation
can end.
was diffused so quickly to like, all right, lock the doors. All right, you're gonna fucking sign this treaty. It's like,
And I
all right,
remember
well,
as a
there you
kid
go.
thinking those are the fastest fucking doors I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
those things are like 1 to 2 frames. Just like, oh my god!
that
Imagine
would have
having
killed
your
you.
foot
That
under
would
there.
have killed you. Yeah.
Back down in the Duel of Fates, the laser doors open up, and Obi-Wan rushes Maul, and they fucking make it happen,
And
man.
we see the coolest like sideways flip. The
No,
when
Maul
he does
does.
the little double flip that
Dude.
Maul does. It's so
Maul does like a
badass.
sexy fucking ninja bat kick into him too. I'm like, that's dope as fuck. He knocks Obi-Wan into the hole and kicks his lightsaber in as well. Obi-Wan hangs on by a thread up in the trade ship. Anakin blasts the thing, gets out. Everything's great. The fucking battlefield, all the droids just drop, and everyone's like, cool, we won.
Why would they not have like a backup? Like, when my Hue fucking light loses connection to the things, it knows what to do.
And as Anakin, by the way, I know exactly. And then the great part is Anakin is blasting his way out of the ship. What does he scream, Tim?
Now this is pod racing.
Now this is
no.
pod racing. To which I'm like, hey man,
It isn't, though.
not to be a dick, but like you can't just scream that whenever you.
Yeah.
Like if I order a grande iced coffee and they accidentally give me a venti iced coffee, I can't be like, well now this is pod racing.
Well, you can. Maybe you can start doing that
I'm
now.
sorry, I'm gonna do it from now on.
Please do it.
From now on. Thankfully,
Real quick, just going back to the fight that Obi-Wan has before he falls into the hole, I loved how like angry and like, oh, you tapping into the dark side a little bit because you're doing some fucking damage.
Well, I do love when they actually kill
What?
Qui-Gon, and the scene before you see Obi-Wan go, like react like, oh, he's gonna die right here. Like there's that cool moment where it's really hard to notice, but he's behind the red wall, and throughout the whole scene, Obi-Wan's standing there and just like, oh, come on, and then they show him, they cut to Obi-Wan, and he goes.
It's
like,
one of those things where, like, if
it's about to happen, and it does.
I'm going to tell everyone right this right now. If I'm fighting someone that I can't beat, and you have an opportunity, you have the power to reach out with your mind and do shit, please do shit. Start making shit float around at least, like something for a distraction. Remember, like Vader was like, "I'm gonna make this thing hit you," and you're like,
that would've been smart.
I can't hit him. I'm not
Prince
trained.
suddenly.
Anyway,
But it breaks the lightsaber in half. So dope.
oh yeah, that was cool.
That's
cool.
really cool.
Well, he flips over,
But also
does
very
that.
convenient for like that lightsaber to function that way, where it's just very modular.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah, where
you
it's
cut
no
it right
problem.
at the right perfect part. you know?
it's not.
Jedi.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's stuck down there. Maul's doing the thing where it's like.
If I were Maul, I would have been
Which I
standing
thought-
up there just like forced, like, fucking,
Lightning, shoot lightning at
his
him.
hand or something.
But it's cool because Obi-Wan realizes that Qui-Gon's lightsaber is still over there, and he sees it with his mind. And he goes, cool. And then he does a fucking Jedi pull-up. He just does some sups and flips over
Does
him.
some sups.
And then cuts, and then with a spray of blood, cuts him in half.
Which
And
is
then
the
we
only time we ever see blood. Yeah.
And then we see him fall, and as he falls, cool shot. His body comes apart.
But can you imagine?
And is that hit the last of him?
Can you imagine?
in the movies it is.
Can you
In
imagine
Saga-
Obi-Wan flying up and Maul just sticking out his lightsaber?
you just cuts him in half.
It's so easy, Maul. Like you did the most amazing things this whole fight. Why now do you suddenly become an infant IQ? Like it's
Like he should have cut his arm off or something. Maul, I'm like, God damn it!
He just
got me,"
looked
and
at
then
him
left.
fly over him.
Anyway, Obi-Wan rushes over to Qui-Gon, but it's too late. He makes Qui-Gon makes Obi-Wan promise to train Anakin. He is the chosen one who will bring balance to the Force. Again, everything seems pretty balanced right now. Why we would need this is beyond me. But we've only ever encountered literally one Sith Lord in our entire existence. But let's train this little kid anyway. Maybe he can kill everyone like Thanos. They send the Viceroy back to the Senate to explain his actions. He can kiss his trade franchise goodbye. Is that what he was trying to do this whole time? Makes sense. Palpatine congratulates everyone, including Anakin, who he'll watch closely until he can make him into a little baby killer later. Then he congratulates Amidala on saving our people. And this is the first time again I realized he was actually the senator from Naboo. How does this galactic Senate work? I'll look into that on the Wikipedia later. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan has been promoted to Jedi Knight. And
The
Yoda,
Wikipedia.
And Yoda begrudgingly allows him to train Anakin in the ways of the Force. Anakin watches as they burn Qui-Gon's body, which is foreshadowing for Return of the Jedi. And Obi-Wan tells him he's going to train. He's like, I'm going to train you, little fucker. Yeah, you're going to be a Jedi. Mace Windu tells Yoda that Maul was definitely Sith. And Yoda says, always two there were, no more, no less, a master and an apprentice. And then he's like, well, which one was this one? Which one did we destroy, the master or the apprentice? And he's like, I don't know.
I love that exchange. Though.
Yeah,
I don't care how cheesy it is.
I also like that.
I don't care
moment.
how cheesy it is. It's such a cool world building thing.
And then we see that moment's great, and then we see a giant parade, and everyone's getting congratulated with.
I love the parade.
Well, I love the parade too. Until you think, what am I going to do with this big fucking ball?
Yeah, what was the ball?
What shelf is this ball going to fit on?
Yeah.
It's the key to the city.
yeah,
Is that what it was? Do you eat it? What do you do with it?
the
You hoop it?
Gungan City.
We see a
It
big
wasn't
parade.
like the
Anakin has a
Gungan's
new
ball
character.
of like energy.
Anakin's now dressed as a Padawan, and he's got a really long braid. You think maybe it's just like the thing they
Hair
clip
extension.
in.
How
Who
long
knows?
is it?
And Jar Jar can't get off a horse. The governor and the queen give the
Obi-Wan gave him
Gungan
his.
King. Yeah, I know, right?
Clip-on ponytail.
The governor and the queen of Naboo give the Gungan King a glowing orb of peace, and Padme shoots young Anakin a smile. That's kind of creepy if you think about it. And the music here is what it is. That's
It's
the end.
fucking awesome.
No, the
terrible.
music's great.
Music's cool.
but again, we
Terrible.
go back a full
You're
circle.
so
here.
wrong. Like definitively
it's
wrong.
It's like
about this.
it's like the ride at Disneyland that didn't have a line, so you're like, we'll just go on that.
It's not. It's
Nah.
so dope.
Yeah.
But
It
we
built so well into the end.
we go back full circle here of why are the Jedis on stage? Why are they
Doesn't
like?
make sense.
Why are they fucking? No, it doesn't
Mace
make
Windu's
sense.
there.
I'm Mace Windu.
No. I'm saying it does not make sense.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
But it's not even just like Mace Windu and Yoda. It's like some other Yoda-looking motherfucker who's like,
Yaddle.
yeah, and it's just like, why are all these fuckers here? Doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Now here's the thing. Imagine
don't
a
beat it.
different
Break
world,
it
guys.
off.
Imagine Star
I don't
Wars
feel
Episode
comfortable.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it in my head.
This just fucking starts going. The words come up. Obi-Wan Kenobi's master, Qui-Gon Jinn, was killed at the hands of Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah,
This
blah.
movie should have been an Obi-Wan movie.
In his
Same.
dying words, his master asked him to lead Anakin when he wasn't even ready himself. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever the fuck's happening. Start the movie. It's about Obi-Wan. It's about Obi-Wan trying to figure out, these Jedi don't seem like they have this shit together.
Yeah.
But my master, who I do trust, is telling me to teach this little kid.
Yeah.
So much cooler.
Yeah.
And also, Anakin doesn't need to be a little kid.
No.
Make him 14.
Yeah, there really wasn't. That's the thing. They're like, he's too old. And I'm like, but then we see the other Padawans, and they're like 2 years younger than this kid, right? Like, I get that you have to train a kid from birth, you identify him or whatever. But him being too, like, Luke was too old. Like, he's 18. He's already a teenager. He's already set in his ways. That makes sense. Make him Luke's age. Again, another, look, thematically, they're exactly like father, like son, right?
Yeah.
No, that's dumb. And make them the same age as Natalie Portman so that they can have a chemistry together. Make her
That's
18
weird
too.
stuff.
And she's like, man, this this kid that can fix shit, this grease monkey, he has got what it takes to fucking take off my geisha fucking clothes or
It's
whatever
just,
I wear.
with Qui-Gon, I love him. I love the idea of him. But I would have loved the idea of him more if we never saw him.
Never.
And we just know that Obi-Wan's master Qui-Gon died. Cool. Qui-Gon's already dope.
Yeah.
Instead, we get this movie.
Because the thing is, like, when you talk about the analog, right, which you talk about Ben Kenobi and Luke, right, at the beginning of A New Hope, that is the dynamic they were going for here. But Ben always had a sense of like, we are gonna lose. Like, I don't have what it takes anymore. I'm slow and I'm old, and you are the new generation, and you have to train no matter what. Like, I'm gonna try to train you, but really, Yoda's a better person to do this with. He was already like 10 steps behind when we started that, and then when he dies, you're like, oh shit, this is really scary because now Luke's out on his own. He's got to go find this other thing. Qui-Gon just like does everything perfectly. This whole
Qui-Gon does
movie.
everything. Not only does he do it perfectly, he's
Except
the only
for
one who
die.
does things. How would this movie be different if Obi-Wan just wasn't in it?
It wouldn't. Also, it wouldn't have been different, realistically thinking, if Anakin wasn't in it. Because they already set up that as long as they have the Viceroy, they can make him stop the attack up there at the threat of gun. So Anakin doesn't have to be in this at all. Jar Jar doesn't have to be in this at all. Really, you need Qui-Gon, and you need one of the fucking...
Nuke gun ready people.
Yeah, you need...
Yeah,
that's
but
it.
I think Obi-Wan in this movie to Qui-Gon was a lot like future spoilers, what Anakin kind of becomes to Obi-Wan in the future, where a decision is made and there's always somebody there being like, I don't think this is wise, sir. And then being like,
Yeah,
no,
but-
you're not paying attention to the Force.
But that's the
Pay
thing,
attention,
like,
bro.
The
You know?
big problem I have with this is a lot of characters like they don't seem to have agency over what's happening, right? They're just told to do stuff, and they're like, I guess I'll do it. I don't know. Like, no one takes the initiative except for Qui-Gon to push the action forward at all. And like, it just makes it so boring to watch. They're just going from place to place, and someone's telling us what's happening.
Hit me with that ragu bagu.
Dun 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 dun.
Ragu.
Dun 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 dun.
Bagu.
What's up, everybody? My name is Andy Cortez, and this is Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys. I'm here joined by my host, everybody. I think.
Is that how this works?
Was it?
Yeah,
I thought
I think so.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if that was
Ours is
Harry
everyone.
Potter or
Everyone is
not.
here.
But
We
so
need the
far,
support.
Yeah.
the rankings of the bad guys in the Star Wars universe are number 1, Bubble Tea. What? I don't know what that. I think it was Boba Fett. I don't know. Maybe.
Was it? Yeah,
Number
Boba Fett
2,
and-
Vader's choking hand, and number 3, Tark Vader. Where do we put?
Which one was just Boba Fett?
Boba Fett was Empire.
Oh,
I think it was
Empire.
Boba Fett and
Vader.
Vader.
No, Vader's choking hand was Empire.
Yeah, Vader's choking hand was Empire.
Yeah.
Number 1 was
Bubble tea?
Tarth
Yeah,
Vader.
what?
Maybe
Yeah,
take
that's got to
better
be
notes on
returned. But
this.
how does
Yeah.
that connect to?
yeah.
Well, Tarkin Vader is
Is
A New
number
Hope,
1, yeah.
because Tarkin didn't make it past A New Hope.
So
exactly.
Boba-
Yeah, that's what I
Boba
said.
must mean Emperor?
Sure.
Somehow?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Boba Emperor, maybe? I don't know.
Boba
Where
Teen.
do we put?
Boba-Teen. It's Palpatine and Boba Fett.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Palpatine and Boba Fett.
Which had to be Empire.
No, that's
No,
the last
it's
one.
Jedi.
Jedi.
It's Jedi.
Was Okay. Cool.
Vader's choking hand is the reference to him killing so many
Hell
Jedi
yeah.
people in
in
two.
I remember writing like
4 or
Boba
5.
Boba Teen, but then it just became Bubble Tea.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where are we ranking? I guess we'll say
The
Sith
Trade Federation?
Lord, no, because they don't do shit.
But
They don't even do
pawns
anything.
in the
They are the
game.
the Trade Federation with their droids and
And Maul.
fair.
and Maul
Sidious.
and Maul.
And
not Sidious.
New Gunner
'cause,
was like, took him away. It's terrible.
Yeah, Sidious. Sidious is the one like making it all
Yeah,
happen.
Sidious is the
Yeah,
only
but I just don't
the
like
only
him.
antagonist
We
in
don't
this. Everyone, literally,
He's the one
if it weren't
leading
for
it all.
Sidious, the Trade Federation would be like, we gotta.
Yeah, but like
stop doing
Sidious then
this.
would be the bad guy in all of the movies.
Yeah,
you
as
know?
Vader was too.
No, but it's different though.
Voldemort
Like
was.
this one explicitly has him giving orders for the people.
You're
to
right,
go
and
do
they
the
say his
things.
name
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the first time.
I would
But
say
whatever.
Sidious and Maul.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sidious Maul.
I don't know,
Insidious
fucking
Maul.
low.
I would put them at
Their plans
end,
suck,
the
but-
end, wherever we're at 4.
But he does become like whatever head of the
The thing that sucks though is that like
I don't know. I'm
you
tired.
didn't even care.
the thing that sucks is like Boba Fett is up there at number 1 with Palpatine. It was
Natch.
mostly Palpatine,
It's
right?
pretty cool, though.
But like Darth Maul, way cooler than Boba Fett.
yeah,
way
it
cooler.
didn't last that much. But Boba Fett
Just
in,
as long.
in 2
Oh,
movies.
much longer. Yeah.
Maul, 1 movie, barely.
And now we have
Maul's
officially.
still cooler.
we
Maul's
have-
still yeah,
In
like
coolness.
Yeah. that's
But it
fair.
doesn't matter. It doesn't make you
I know.
a good,
Coolness doesn't
good
fucking
bad
matter.
guy.
Does not make you. A
well,
good
tell
bad
that
guy.
to the streets, dude.
We have officially hit the time mark for the movie itself.
Hell yeah.
Great.
Anyway.
Sorry,
Yay.
it's fun to lament on these.
Is it?
I
I'm gonna
think
put it
they're
at 4.
last.
They're last. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
dead last.
And I'm gonna go also and take it to this next point. I think this movie's dead last.
Dead last.
And I would be surprised if it moves up the rankings.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
It's gonna be above Attack of
It's
the Clones.
gonna
I
be above.
promise.
Is Attack of the Clones really that
Really?
bad?
Yes.
I don't remember it being that bad.
We'll,
At least
we'll
we
get
get the fun,
into the
like,
conversation next
people.
week about yeah. The difference.
We'll have the conversation right now. It's
Yeah.
bad.
So is
Real
this one
bad.
though.
Worse
This
than
was
this
bad,
one?
though.
yes.
No.
I don't remember. I remember them getting slightly better, but we'll watch
They
them next week.
get. I've always thought they get better.
3 does.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. All right.
It doesn't
so
matter.
we're voting now.
Yeah.
Fun.
haiku and review.
7 syllables in the middle. You'll need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme.
Haiku
in review.
Hello.
Haiku in review.
What's your haiku?
Everybody.
Star Wars.
F12.
You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write your review in haiku form, just like Suburbanite Slob did. On a queen he's macking, races his pods like he's something, size of a pumpkin. Great. Andrew Luttrell says, Shmi is Watto's baby. What are midichlorians? Not the worst movie.
I agree, Andrew.
But I'm going to say it. Probably the worst haiku I've ever fucking read on this show.
Jesus, Tim. Come on.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey.
Why are you shit talking?
I don't know. It just felt
Andrew
appropriate at the
Luttrell, you're
time.
pissed, right?
Yeah.
Hey, YouTubers out there, all you cool YouTubers, I want you to just take the clip from the last episode where we're like, let's try to go into this being positive,
Yeah.
and just cut to us being yelling and just angry. About
Hey,
stuff.
I would argue we were as positive as we could be about this.
I agree.
tried to be
and I'm not saying
positive.
that negative. I thought that we were
I
overall.
was so positive I rewrote some of the scenes.
Those are really
better.
good rewrites, Nick.
Jasic says a useless story should have been a short flashback. Saved me all the grief.
Yeah, but no mall.
Yes,
can't
true.
shop-
Mall's
you can't
really
shop at
cool.
the mall, man.
That's the thing. Extend Maul. Like, don't have him die. in
Don't
this
kill
one.
him in the first one. Yeah, it's dumb.
Obi-Wan
Well, we
hates
gotta make
Maul.
room
That
for
would be-
Dooku.
Yeah.
Jeremy
Like,
Z-
are you a
Do
good
we?
guy or bad guy?
Jeremy
I don't know.
Z says Watto disgracing the Jedi Maul was chasing. This is pod racing.
Fuck yeah.
Whoa.
See,
That's
great.
see,
You
Andrew,
don't have to rhyme, but it
Andrew,
helps.
that's how you do a
Haikus don't need to
haiku.
rhyme, but you did it.
I love that Tim's like, if it doesn't rhyme, it's shit. That's my favorite.
Because he's thinking more of a rap term. See, Tim is a hip hopper.
Brian S says Padme is 14. Anakin's just a slave. Kids love taxation.
I'd have been like, George, you're gonna really start the whole thing off with a tax dispute?
is perfectly legal.
So now it's time to rank the Star Wars universe. Andy, good job with this image.
Thanks,
Very
That was
good
great,
job
Barrett.
with that
With the
transition.
Good job, Barrett.
Whoa! Currently, number 1, The Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, A New Hope. Number 3, Return of the Jedi.
Can we put this at number 11 and just see if it moves up the right?
Yeah,
thing?
we've done that before.
Yeah.
There's precedent for it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, all of the problems that we have, I think that the most important one for this movie is that, at least for me, they don't make you emotionally invested in any of these characters whatsoever throughout the entire thing. I don't even feel for Obi-Wan, which is a character that we've known in other movies. I don't care for him until Qui-Gon dies. where I'm like, oh, that's sad
Totally.
because like
You're
that's
right.
his. And even like Duel of the Fates is cool because it's greatly choreographed. It's this like really epic scene that's made by the music. But even before then, when Qui-Gon's alive and they're all doing it, it's like I'm still not emotionally invested in what is happening right now. And that is like. When Qui-Gon dies, that's the best example of having like a emotional connection. And then there's the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's just why, at the end of the day, no matter how much our opinions differ on later movies, like this is the worst one. Like
By far.
By
It's making
far.
a lot of sense.
No.
I don't agree at all.
And two does the best it can with terrible acting and what this story set up.
Absolutely.
Also, you're forgetting about too. He grows a beard, and it's cool.
Ewan
does.
McGregor
Obi-Wan, yeah.
in second movie is actually fun to watch.
He's
Yeah.
We'll
sassy.
see
he's
next
cool.
week, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see next week.
saying.
But for now, I think we actually
Put it at
have
4.
a pretty interesting vote.
Yeah.
That we might actually be a little divided here because obviously we would all put it under Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I thought you were gonna try to put it above Return of the Jedi. I was like, I don't know.
No
Jesus
one, no one
Christ,
would
no.
I would
fucking do
quit
that.
kinda
No
funny.
way.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to
I'd leave
propose
with you,
here
Nick.
is who thinks it's better than number 11? Raise your hands.
Wait, what?
Oh, you want? Okay, I see what you're
You
saying.
wanna
Number
put
11
it
or
at
4?
10?
For sake of the
I'm
chart.
confused on what we're saying here.
Do you want it at number 11 or number 4, Kevin?
11. Are we voting for 11 right now?
We can put it
No.
at 4. We can put it at 4 and just see where it bumps.
Oh,
down to.
I think that it should go at number
It's
11.
at number 4 now because
There
you
you
got
go.
outvoted, Kevin. So
Damn it.
I voted with you.
So
but
that's
Yeah.
two
Kevin
people
and
voted.
Barrett voted
I'll tell you what, for the
11.
first time in my life,
Three of
I
us voted
sympathize
for
with those
4.
people in the Senate because I don't know what the fuck we're voting on or what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Only would listen.
They're like,
guys.
when
I,
no, he's
what?
the-
I was confused.
He's the
Were
Sith
you
guy. We
understand?
voted him in. What?
Is that guy oh no.
Number
vote it out.
1, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, A New Hope. Number 3, Return of the Jedi. Number 4, The Phantom Menace. Next week, we are doing Attack of the Clones and Terminator.
Dark.
Terminator 2 is going to be later this week, and then Terminator Dark Fate next week. Get hyped. Until then.
Now this is podcasting.